We're going right now. Oh, hello. Welcome to the Mean Stream, where today we're going
Hello.
to analyze and experience the Torture Poets Department, for which we are now members.
Yes, yes, I would have slipped and called it the tortured lesbians department, but yes,
It does
absolutely.
make us feel like tortured lesbians, which is not a
Yes.
bad thing. We fully embrace it.
No, it's not. No,
Mm,
I
yeah,
love it actually.
despite
Mhm.
what we've been told.
Oh my God.
I had to bring it up at least once in a stream
Oh my gosh.
just to piss you off.
I'm here to represent Joe with Pink Lover,
Mhm.
so.
And I'm the Torture Poets Department. But I think it's important that we do our postmortem, start an
Oh
investigation.
yes.
Hmm.
Something postmortem. I don't know that song that well.
We hereby conduct this postmortem.
Mhm. I do
Well,
like that song, but we're not covering that one today. That's next
no,
week.
that's for next week. So for those of you who do not know, if you're living under a rock, Taylor Swift released her new album last week, The Torture Poets Department, and Alex and I were skeptical. Alex way more than me. But how do you
Yes.
feel about it now, Alex?
Okay, so I will say I still need to clip my initial reaction to Midnights because it is gold and it is so harsh. Like, honestly. And I think I forgot what it was like to be in a Taylor era and actually like the album, which is really bad
Yeah.
to say. But
Yeah. So
honestly,
so yeah.
oh, honestly, I was really, really, really pleasantly surprised with this album. So it was a complete departure from Midnights. Loved it. And I was very happy, honestly, with pretty much the whole thing upon first listen. I didn't have any cringe moments except for a few moments here or there. Um, but yeah, I really liked it pretty much from the beginning. I will say I was completely fine with it, and then when she released the second one, then I was like, "This is really good," because it felt complete. It
Mhm.
wasn't quite finished, but I like this first one because it represents her extroverted side and, like, her face during this
Mhm.
era and how she looked on the outside and society and these kinds of things. So I really do enjoy it for that part of the picture because it wouldn't feel complete without the first album either. It wouldn't.
Yeah. I was just honestly so surprised because I we were talking about this during the Midnights era where it was she was very fake, right? She was very much putting on a face and not being true to herself and lying and being toxic. We could see right through it. And I feel like this album validated every single thing that we said.
Yes.
Yeah, because she's like, "Actually, this is how I really feel." And she even, like, tells people off in this album, like, she, like, yells at her own fans. It's hilarious, which is funny because we were, like, annoyed with those same fans about the same stuff.
Yes. No, it was just like I think it vindicated everything we
Mhm,
thought about the breakup. It vindicated everything we thought about her. Like,
mhm,
I used to be, like, really hater. I was, like I wasn't a hater completely, but I was very disappointed, like,
mhm,
all throughout the Midnights era. I was really just like, "Oh gosh," and so when this album was coming out,
mhm.
I had very, very, very low
You
expectations,
did. Yeah.
kind of to the floor because I was really scared that she was gonna get even worse. Because it's
Yeah.
like I don't know, and I don't know why, but people are so, like, quick to defend Midnights, and I'm
Mhm.
just like, "No." Like, Gen Z Midnight stands, get away. Like, you are wrong. Like, I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
Well, that's why so many Gen Z do not like this album because it's like the
Yes.
real her. It's not the fake her, and we grew up with the real her. We know what
Yes.
like Fearless and Speak Now and Red and even 1989,
Mhm.
and then I would argue Reputation is the real her too, but people
Mhm.
rejected that so
Mhm.
harshly that she like backlash to Lover, which is where the toxic era began, and she started making
Mhm.
things up and hiding things. And even though Folklore and Evermore were her hiding and lying and
Mhm.
making things up. It's those were great albums, but it still
Mhm.
fell into that same pattern of
Mhm.
basically lying about who she was. And I'm just like so happy to have this like album where she's telling the truth, and it's an album
Mhm.
where she's like, she is finally embracing taking on a persona that's not likable to everyone.
Yes.
Hmm.
Because I think the thing about Taylor is that at the end of the day, she's an artist
Hmm.
and she knows it wasn't good. She knows Midnights wasn't it. She knows it was rushed. It
That's
was
why she was so
rushed.
surprised when she won Album of the Year. She's like, "Are you
Yeah.
sure? Like, really?"
Yes, but the thing is, I think in that sense, Midnights is kind of a performance art piece post, like from the outs or
Hmm.
afterwards. You can kind of look back at it and see like how fake everything is. Like she
Hmm.
really could show like I can easily manipulate my image, I can
Hmm.
manipulate the industry, I can manipulate everybody into liking me, which was the mastermind
Hmm.
moment of that era, which I do think was accurate, and the
Yeah.
Eras tour and everything that came with the Midnights era. She was able to do that. And I think now um she was starting to lose people towards the
Hmm.
end of last year. The tides are turning, there's
Hmm.
oversaturation. And I think I think because of that, she's like, okay, like it had its moment. Like I had my moment where everybody loved me. Now she knows what's coming next. Because every time
Hmm.
people build her up, they tear her down. It
Hmm.
happens every single time.
Yep.
And now Gen Z is having their build up, tear down moment. Because
Yeah.
like we had ours with Reputation in 1989. Like millennials kind of built her up and then tore her down at that
Yeah.
time. But yeah, I mean, hello, you guys. Hello, Caleb and John. But we were, I still love Taylor in
Hmm.
the Reputation era. Like, I was
Oh, me
not,
too.
I mean, Reputation was very much, though, millennials tortured lesbian. It was like
Yeah.
that was our, like, she was
Hmm.
rejected and she's going to show the real her. And back then it was like, oh my gosh, she's drinking. And oh
Hmm.
my gosh, like she had like an extra, like she was kind of cheating low key and
Hmm.
gorgeous. That's where she introduced these things because she was trying really hard to be very morally presenting prior
Hmm.
to Reputation. So this is a similar experience, but to me, it's like, how do these people not know that she's like into
Messy.
cheating and yeah, and like just kind of a hoe and like all these things? It's like
Hmm.
it's really out there. Like she just put out Slut
But
on
but it's okay, Taylor. We like these
yeah.
things
Oh
about you.
yeah. I love her slutty songs. Those are like
Yeah.
low key my
Well,
favorites.
we're big fans of Evil Taylor. Like, before we get into this
Yes.
album, like, we can point out what happened in Midnights that led to this album, starting with just the lead single of Antihero from Midnights, where
Yes.
we have fake Taylor and evil Taylor. And Alex and I from the beginning were like, evil Taylor is it. That is the real
Yes.
Taylor. And that that music video. And this album is Evil Taylor. And I'm so happy she's back because
Yes.
she's the one that we want. And she's just like she's all over this album. There's just not like one fake song I think on this album, and
Mm-mm.
that's what makes it so good. Even the one where she's
Mhm.
trashing Kim Kardashian, I'm like, I think that's how you really feel, Taylor.
Yes, I do too. No, I am so happy that she's being because this is like even more real. Like Reputation, it
Hmm.
was real, but it was real through a traumatized lens. It was like traumatized Taylor
It was real
versus
Capricorn Taylor.
yeah, and very
Hmm.
Capricorn focused, very scorpionic,
Hmm.
which is fine. Those are aspects of her, but she's not a dark person.
Hmm.
She's just kind of like silly or rebellious
Hmm.
or she
Dorky.
can be, yeah, even debaucherous, honestly,
Hmm.
which is more of her Sagittarius nature, which is in this album because there's a
Hmm.
lot of debauchery in this one
Yeah.
too. But I like the rebellious nature of the album. I do. I think she's rebelling against
Yeah.
everybody basically. And I think she knows the cancellation's coming and she's just saying, fuck you all, basically. And I love it. I do.
She curses more in this album than she does in any other album. She refers to herself as a whore.
Yes.
She's like, fuck all of you, like in that one song, which
Yes,
we'll
I
get
love
to.
it. I
Yeah.
love it. So I'm so happy and I'm so relieved
Hmm.
as what at times felt like the lone Swiftie that didn't like the Midnights era because I
Hmm.
really didn't.
Yeah.
I've liked every other era, even Lover. It was bad, like honestly, it was.
Yeah.
But it was like it was so bad it was funny. It was like a
Yeah.
funny era because it was comedically manufactured, so ridiculously over the top, and like I could make fun of her for days. You know, that's when I
Yeah.
started lesbianifying her songs. I just changed the word to lesbian. I did it like I used to call the album Lesbian Lover, like literally, because it was just like I couldn't take it seriously, but it was still fun. Midnights, it's like it was not even fun like that. It was
Mhm.
like I don't even know what to do with this. Like, but you know, it was not
Yeah.
it
Well,
for
that is
me, anyways.
that's why I think what connected us on a very deep level as Swifties and why we became friends is that both of us had this weird view of viewing every single song through our lesbian alter egos.
Yes,
And we
it's
were just
so
like, you
fun.
said this one thing one time. I was like, yeah, that's 100. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's it.
I love it.
Yeah.
And I just I think I said like Lesbian Street or something, like instead of Cornelia Street.
Yeah.
And it's just all over the Lover album. Like, I don't know. I don't know what is with it, but I'm obsessed with it. And then she kind of, I don't know if she like embraced it because she has like the Evermore cover, which is very lesbianic. And then she has like Seven, where she talks about being in the closet. I mean, she does a lot of these little things. And
Mhm.
I'm not a gayler, I always have to say, but I'm not. I'm a biler. I think she's
Yeah.
bi. But
But even
yeah.
if she isn't, it's more of like even if it's unintentional, it's that's what makes it 10 times funnier because
Yes.
she just has that vibe, which is like she can't
Yes.
help it because she's so masculine. That's the thing.
Yeah, well, I love you sent me Lisa sent me this picture where Taylor was dressed a certain way and somebody was like, "And you're gonna tell me she likes men?" Like because of how she was dressed. And I'm just like, that's so funny. Like
Yes.
I feel like I'm learning so much about lesbians through Taylor. But that
Angie's
brought
not even
us
a lesbian.
to the the
Yeah.
um the ultimate title change of an entire album, which was the Tortured Lesbians Department. And it came to me because I wasn't taking it seriously when it was first coming out because I was like, I don't know how this is going to be. Like, it was just really extra, like the way she was presenting it. And she was presenting it very seriously, which now we can kind of see it was a troll the way
Yeah.
she was presenting
There's
it.
so many trolls in this album.
Yes, which is hilarious. But basically, she comes out with it, and I'm like, this is good.
Mhm.
Like, I love that there's kind of allusions to a lot of her eras or even all her eras. Like, she can kind of like be self-derivative from her own work because she
Mhm.
has such a long-standing career. She can choose sonic qualities, which we're going to get into when we go through the
Mhm.
songs. We can see like she chooses sonic qualities to call back to different years of her life in different
Mhm.
times, and she'll combine things and like even the whole or she'll bring back like in one of them, but Daddy I Love Him. It's extremely Red. You could totally put that song
Mhm.
on the Red album.
It's like Fearless, Speak Now, and Red. It can go on either of those.
Mhm,
I think Red for the boldness, but it
mhm,
for the lyricism, like it calls back to Love Story on Fearless, but it's like
mhm,
but Red is when she started to say it's more serious than high school. So that's like
mhm.
it's like the grown-up version of Fearless, which is Red.
Mhm. Yeah, and I think too, lyrically, I totally agree. It's Fearless,
Mhm.
but sonically, it sounds like Red.
Mhm.
And I like the just the backtrack and everything and the vibe and the
Mhm.
like it's just so like gosh, like she can still do all of it. Like she can do all of it. It's
Yeah.
really incredible. So I was just so I'm sorry, but I'm gonna have a hard time being critical of the album because
Yeah.
it's the reverse of Midnights, where I had a really hard time saying anything good about the
Yeah.
album.
You know, but
Now
before we
it's like
get
I
on to
really
this
like it.
album, the reason why I brought up Antihero because that's the first single
Mhm,
on the album, and then the last song to be released for that album, which was released months after when they announced the breakup. She'd been holding on to this song since 2021 and decided not to release it until after she broke up with Joe Alwyn. And it's "You're Losing Me," where that is like the start, in my opinion, of the Torture Poets department. Because that's the one where she was
mhm,
like actually telling the truth. She was like, "Guess what,
mhm,
guys? This whole Midnight album that was total BS. I was lying through my teeth. Here's the truth. I was glaring at him with storms in my eyes, and I felt like I
mhm.
was dying." And it's like, guys,
Yes,
they did it.
and I think it even when that song came out, we had some clarity about, like, Folklore era and
Mhm.
Evermore, and I was like, Tolerated is about Joe. Like, I could
Yeah.
tell, and you could tell on tour because of how she sang it, especially when
Mhm.
they first broke up. Like, you could tell she wrote it about him.
Yeah,
And
and she
then
tried to
now,
disguise it by saying it was about an older guy. It's like, yeah, okay, whatever.
yes. And then
She's trying to hide it.
now we know too that there's a lot of allusions to Maddie Healy. And I think
Mm,
in Folklore and Evermore. And I think that that's what shocked me and Lisa about this is
mhm.
we did not know how deep her love, honestly, of Maddie Healy was.
A
I had no idea.
10-year,
Yes.
like, obsession with him while she was dating other people, and she literally says on this album, in one of the songs, I can't remember which one at the moment, but that she, like, she hid her, she like, "I swirled you into my poems in a vault in, like, lowercase," and I'm like, "So Folklore? Evermore?"
Mhm.
Like,
I think that might be Guilty as Sin. I
that too.
think
Oh, he's totally
it,
guilty of sin. We can go through the songs and say who's about
yeah.
who, but, like, some of them are, like, inspiration from both, and some of them are like,
Yeah.
you know? But yeah, anyways, let's get into it. Torture Poets Department.
Tortured lesbians.
Yes. Everything I learned about being a lesbian is from Taylor Swift, even though I'm not a lesbian. You know? Um, but I might as well be one the more I listen to this album. Anyways.
Oh my
Um,
gosh.
so the album opens up with Fortnite, which happens to be the lead single. I think this is the first time she's ever led an album with a lead single.
Mhm.
And I actually, at first, I was like, this song's really mellow, but the more I listen to it, the more I'm totally obsessed with it. It features Post Malone. She gave him the highest honor possible, which was the bridge of the song. If you know anything about
Mhm.
Taylor Swift, she is the bridge queen. She knows
Mhm.
how to write a bridge, and it's like she want to like save the world from an alien invasion. It's she's bridging the gap between humanity and the extraterrestrials with that bridge.
Yes.
Um, and I have to say, because she also directed the music video, and Alex and I rag at her all the time for being this like really on the nose with her music videos, and how she doesn't
Yes.
really have like an abstract creative mindset. It's very beat by beat by beat.
Yes.
I will say though, I think this is the one that she did the best on, even though I don't think it's her best music video overall. I think it's the best one that she's directed.
I think so too, and I think, me and Lisa, we were looking at it, and there is a secret lesbian storyline in the in the music video, which we will break down because I have to. But I will say I agree. I think there's certain scenes that I think are just so gorgeous. Like, I love her in the rain. I love it, and I love how she says, "In America," and all that.
Mhm.
Like, just the way that she's so beautiful.
Yeah.
She's so just
When she's, like,
beautiful.
sitting
Like,
on her knees, like it's a call that's a
yes.
callback to Karma, which is I know you hate that song, but there's just so many callbacks when they're laying on the ground, that's a callback to Style.
Mhm.
There is just, like there's so many different pieces of it, and it opens up with her, like, in a mental hospital because as we learn throughout this album, she refers to her time with Joe, which was her boyfriend of 6 years, basically now as, like, a mental asylum in prison.
Yeah, which is pretty harsh. I
And then
think
you go ahead.
oh, I don't know if it was really like that. I think from my opinion of it, just from an outsider looking in, I think she was wounded bird when they met. She wanted somebody to be kind of like in control. I think we both established that she's very submissive in relationships. I didn't believe it at first, but after this album came out, I was like, oh my God, Lisa was completely right. It's like she is like Lana Bottom levels of
Mhm,
submissive in
mhm.
her relationships. So I think she's just very opposite.
Yeah,
Like in life, she's in control of everything all the time. And then in the bedroom, she's completely Lana Bottom levels. That
mhm.
might be why she loves Lana, actually.
Yeah, she's like, "How do I become you?"
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah,
And I mean, it makes sense because I'm kind of Lana Bottom myself too. So I kind of understand it, but I don't have to act like Lana. I just basically am. It's like I don't have to try. I'm just already there.
yeah. Versus
But
I actually had the same personality type as Taylor Swift. We're both 3 wing fours.
yeah, I mean, Lana's technically a 5, but she's 5 wing 4, I'm 4 wing 5, but it's close enough. And I think in a relationship, it's similar enough. It's like we're basically there. I might have a
Yeah.
little bit more of an edge, but I just have a little bit more dominant of a guy. That's all it takes. That's it. You know, it's like
Yeah.
you just mix it up a bit. But I do think I I liked I think with them together, he was very stable. And I think she wanted that after she was traumatized.
Hmm.
And he kind of like kept her in check. And he was kind of like this source of morality for her in a way. And she felt safe. But I think over the years, he became depressed and she became bored. And I
Yeah.
think that I've tried to say that to guys too. Like, one of the biggest death knells of a relationship is if you bore her to death. And I think
Hmm.
honestly, he did. I think he bored her to death.
Yeah. And he didn't seem to have much ambition, and she's
Hmm.
extremely ambitious because if you look at all the projects he got a part of, it was all like projects that had her friends in it, which is really
Hmm.
embarrassing. And I'm not saying
Yeah.
he's a bad actor, but it seems like, this is something that another YouTuber said. I think it's the Swiftologist. I believe it was he who said this, but he said that like if you're going to be a successful artist, you have to know how to embrace cringe and
Hmm.
allow yourself to get embarrassed because you
Hmm.
can't go into that field without without lacking embarrassment. And it seems like he was so afraid of being embarrassed, he never put himself out there, and so
Hmm.
he'd only ever get safe roles, and just happens a lot of them happen to have Emma Stone in it, which is one of Taylor's best friends.
Right. Oh, yeah. That makes a lot of sense. And I
Mhm.
think too, like, that might be why the relationship ended, because there are cringy moments in a relationship. You have to be cringe sometimes in a relationship or be willing to say gay things to each other. And I feel like he would never do that. And I think she
Yeah.
might have been attracted to that initially, but over years of time, it's like you gotta drop the games and or at least keep the games interesting. And I feel like he didn't do either one. I feel
Yeah.
like he kept the game up, but he also bored her to death. And so I feel like that's ultimately why they fell apart. Because the way the album is, it's really confusing to tell, which I'd like to hear your take on this. It's very difficult to tell if he broke up with her or she broke up with him. It's
Yeah.
very like overlapping. So what do you think, or how do you interpret
I
it?
what I said from the beginning, which was like a year ago, I said what probably most likely happened is that she took the initiative and she gave him an ultimatum, and he did not. He probably said something like, "Well, I don't do ultimatums," and she's like, "Fine."
Mhm.
Something like that, and then she waited and he didn't do anything. She's like, "Whatever." And so she sees it as he didn't fight for her, so therefore he left
Mhm.
her, but in reality she probably ended it. And so it's kind of like they both broke up with each other in a different way, and she's going to see it
Mhm.
as I left you or you left me based on whatever mood she's in.
Mhm. Because it's ambiguous.
Yeah.
And I think it's sad, but it also makes sense
Mhm.
because it was stagnant, and
Mhm.
that's a very difficult place to be in a relationship. And I think
Mhm.
especially as a woman, like, I don't know if Taylor wants to have kids and stuff, but time does
Well,
pass
I
and
think she makes a
it's
lot of illusions too. I mean, whether or not she wants kids, I think the option is being taken away from her in many
Mhm.
ways, and I think she was not happy with having that option taken away from her,
Mhm.
because she makes so many allusions in the album to, well, she just outright says actually, "I gave you all that youth for free."
Right.
It was very much just a different way of saying, "I gave you all the milk, but you didn't buy the cow."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that part is interesting to me because it really showed how much control he had over her, because
Mhm.
she says, like, I that she's mad at him for letting her give all her youth for free.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Whoa, like, holy Lana Bottom Taylor. Whoa, that's really
Yeah.
submissive." Like, I was surprised to hear that, but it makes
Yeah.
sense. It
We're
does,
totally jumping ahead, but yeah, the
yeah.
Fortnite. I like Fortnite. I think it's really
Yeah.
good. It grows on you. It's definitely like I'm the more I listen to it, the more I'm like, okay, now I finally get why this is the lead single because it very much, even though it doesn't define the album, it's not like a thesis statement. It's very much it's explaining a moment caught in time post
Mhm.
breakup. of where she's
Okay.
reeling. And this album is very much post breakup, reeling over the fallout of the rebound, and then being
Yeah.
like, and then trying to come to terms still with your long-term relationship ending, but now your rebound ending that you thought was going to be amazing. So
Yes.
it's,
Yeah,
yeah.
and I think that that's what's interesting too, is it's a double breakup. It's like a double album
Hmm.
and a double breakup album. And I find that interesting because you have both types of a breakup. So like a long, slow death
Hmm.
breakup, which is Joe, and then a red style breakup where it's
Hmm.
over really quickly and you're really mad and the Maserati is driving down the dead end street. So
Yeah.
she has both in this album, which is super crazy, which is why I love her because she's crazy.
Yeah, it's great.
So this
um
one,
yeah.
Fortnite, is about Maddie, right? Or who is it
I
about?
believe so. I feel
Okay.
like, because she opens the song with, "I was supposed to be sent away, but they forgot to come and get me," meaning, like, I think she was like, "I was supposed to be mourning my 6-year relationship, but then you happened," you
Right.
know? Yeah. And now she's just like, she can't, and I think part of the reason why she was so okay with leaving Joe is that she knew she had another option, and which
That's
we
so
all didn't
true.
know about. We thought she just rebounded to him because it was like he was the first guy available. It's like, no, she according to this album, she'd been thinking about him for 10 years.
Yeah.
And he'd always been like her what if and her backup. And
Mhm.
then she finally got with the what if the backup and realized
It
just how
wasn't it.
disappointing he was.
Yeah. It wasn't it.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But I think, yeah, so this one is about him. Right. Okay. And
Mhm.
then it's I really I really loved the video. I almost like the video more than the song. I think the
Yeah.
song for me, it's a little bit too slow for me
Mhm.
as an intro, but it does give the mood. I love the bridge too. I really do like Post Malone on it, but I think
Yeah.
Post Malone is really talented.
Oh
So I
yeah.
had no complaints. I still don't have a complaint about the song. It's just that's why it's not one of my favorites because
Hmm.
it's a little too slow for me.
Yeah.
But in terms of like an intro, it's an interesting kind of get you in the mood
Hmm.
of being a tortured lesbian,
Yes.
basically.
And then in the video, it's, oh no, oh gosh, let's go back to the night of when the album was coming out, and she released the teaser for the music video, and we both saw it, and because we made this joke, it's like, what if she just like goes full tortured lesbian? Is that what if this
Yes.
happens? And there's imagery of her dressed like a lesbian being tortured,
Yes. It was
like
perfect.
literally being tortured in a and then also imagery of her in a Victorian like out like dress. And no, everybody
Yes.
knows there's nothing more lesbianic than a Victorian dress.
Yes, and also too, like, she is so, like, masculine when she's in the all black. Like, she's
Yeah.
just such, like, full blown, like, butch, like, when she's in that. And I love it, honestly. I'm
Yeah.
like, because she likes to play with those dualities within herself throughout this whole album. 'Cause she has like the extrovert side, the introvert side, and then she has the masculine and the feminine. In this song or this video, when she's in white, she's like more feminine. And then
Mhm.
when she's in black, she's like, I'm like, that's a man sitting at the desk.
The male
So
persona
it's
comes out.
funny.
Post
Yes.
Malone's just looking at her like across the desk.
Yeah. It's like I loved it because I was watching it and me and Lisa, we were like chatting after I had watched it. We were breaking down and we're like, yeah, so it starts out like she's a closeted lesbian. She's very tortured about it, that she's in the conversion therapy. Like they're trying to get her to be straight. She's taking drugs and it's not working because she's too gay. And so,
But Post Malone is here to tell her it's okay to be who you are.
yes.
I'll hold your hand, my lesbian
Post
friend.
Malone in our version is her beard. And then he basically like saves her from her internalized homophobia and closetedness and says that it's okay that you're lesbian.
Yes. Once again, we're not gaylers. This is all, we're just very
Yes.
satirical.
Yes. And she
Don't
really
come for us,
did
Taylor.
subconsciously question mark put this in the song. Like it's a pretty fair shot, honestly. Maybe unintentionally so, but but basically it just, the song progresses and they do the ultimate conversion therapy where they have her with the the electric thing and it doesn't work. And then Post Malone's like, we shouldn't do this. This is wrong. And then
Mhm.
he saves her, and then they're liberated. And then she's symbolically wet on the telephone pole at the
Mhm.
liberation. And then there's
Yeah.
the scene where the butch version of her, where she's in the black dress, she
Oh,
is like realizing she's gay. And then it ends, and then she's gonna go move to Florida at the end and be with a woman or many women.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I have a feeling there's a lot of alligator wrangling lesbians in Florida.
I think so too. I kind of hope if she does a video for Florida, I hope she brings the lesbian energy to that too. But she
Well,
usually does.
Florence is gonna be in it. They're gonna be like killing her cheating husband and letting him sink into the swamp.
They're gonna be like letting out together. That would be everything. I would love that.
Oh my
So
god,
I
that'd be
can hope.
amazing.
I did get my lesbianism in Fortnite though. So I
Yeah,
am
because you said that
happy.
you if there was not enough lesbian moments in this like album that you were gonna riot, and
Yes,
you
I was
got the
gonna be
first
really
go.
mad. And then when I first watched the video, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm like, she's being so hetero in this. Like, I was kind of disappointed. And then I saw beneath it and I was like, no, like, it's her beard. He's her beard. And then I was like, that's even more lesbian than I thought
And he
initially.
had a beard too, so it worked out.
Yes, symbolically and
Yeah.
but yeah,
Um,
I love the rain. I
oh
love
my
seeing
god.
her in the rain. She loves the
Yeah.
rain. I love it.
Yeah, she's hot in the rain. That's just the way it is. Yeah.
I love it.
Um, and then the next song is The Tortured Poets Department, which we have mixed feelings about.
Yeah. So this one, I was gonna tell you, I feel like, well, okay, I'll tell you with the next one because I have thoughts on my boy. But this one, I was like, it's very weird sonically.
Yeah.
Like I feel like there's definitely Midnights in it, but it's like a Midnights meets what do you think? As
Midnight's
far
meets like I always keep saying red. Like it feels like Midnight's meets
interesting.
red. Like because Maddie Healy is a red love and
Mhm.
Joe is the Midnight's, breakup love. And it's like they're both together because it's kind of like because red has a lot of reflection and it
Mhm.
has a lot of down tempo songs
Mhm.
that are like slightly uplifting, like
Mhm.
treacherous. Treacherous is like,
Yeah.
this love is treacherous. Um,
Yeah, and even the beat is kinda giving a little bit of Girl at Home
mhm,
too, which is interesting because when you said that, I'm like, "Oh, yeah, it sounds a little bit like Red TV,
mhm,
like Girl at Home," that type of sonic sound. I agree. I think that's
yeah,
true because it's that poppy, but not poppy, but it's
mhm,
a little bit more poppy because it's like a midnight. So maybe she's symbolically saying it's that red love, but it's still an illusion, which
yeah.
Midnight's is the ultimate illusion. So that's interesting. But the lyrics of the song, what are your thoughts on it?
I love the first verse. I love the
Mhm.
chorus. I love the bridge is fantastic, but overshadowed by the terrible second verse.
Yeah, I haven't listened as much to it because I've been focused on a lot of other songs. There's a lot of songs. So it's like every
Yeah.
Swiftie has to like digest it and you find what you're into and it's like you're gonna be going through it for a long time, honestly. But so I've been focusing on other songs. But when I listened to it, I was like, okay, Lisa says the second verse is bad. And I listened to it and I was like, oh my gosh, this is really bad.
Yes. It almost like it made me worry going like to the 3rd
Yeah.
and 4th song. I was like, because it was so bad, but like it's honestly, in my opinion, it's like the only really it's I mean, there's a couple
Yeah.
cringe lyrics, but this is the only like bad lyrics. Like
Yeah.
other ones are cringe, but like this is bad. Because you can enjoy cringe. Cringe can be
Yeah.
camp and fun. But saying you smoked and ate 7 bars of chocolate, we declared Charlie Puth of all people. Sorry,
I
that's not part of the
know.
lyric, but me saying of all people should be a better artist. And then you fell asleep as I scratched your head like a tattooed golden retriever. And I'm just like,
I'm like, ew. It's not even cringe. Like, it's kind of just like,
it's just bad.
it's bad. Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, and again, I was so blinded by how much better this whole album is than Midnight's that I had a
Mhm.
really hard time criticizing it. But when Lisa brought that up, I listened to it. I'm like, ooh, it is really bad. And
Yeah.
everything else about the song is great.
I know, that's
It's
what
that one.
ruins it for me.
I
Because 'cause I'm
know.
like, this would be one of my top songs on the album if not for
Yeah.
that second verse, because I love the chorus, and the bridge is so beautiful. The bridge is really short, it's probably one of her shortest bridges, but it works so well where it's like, "At dinner, you take my ring off my middle finger and put it
Mhm.
on the one that people put wedding rings on, and that's the closest my heart's come to exploding." I already have that memorized.
Mhm.
And it's like, listen,
Yeah.
it's like because he would this because this is another Maddie Healy song is that in this couple of weeks that she dated him, he gave her more hope for a future than Joe did in 6 years.
Yeah, which is
And that's
sad.
sad. And it's like and so it's such a heartbreaking song in that way. And but then she's like, well, who's gonna hold you? Who's gonna hold you? So she's reliving like you put a ring on my wedding ring finger and then you ghosted me.
Mhm.
Like, what was that about?
Right. So
It's
is it the whole relationship only lasted 2 weeks, or was it longer
I
than
think
that?
it was a little bit longer, but I think it
Yeah.
was like I think the intense part of the relationship was 2 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the feeling I get from it.
Or maybe they spent 2 weeks together down in Florida or something.
Or a timeshare down in Destin. Yeah.
But yeah, okay. But yeah, so it's this basically breakup, like, how are you gonna move on without me? Like, what about all this stuff? And the thing too is it's such a weird combo. Like you said, I think it is that Midnight's Red mix
Yeah.
because it's a long relationship, but also so short at the same time, which is
Mhm.
really interesting because she had fantasized about him for like 10 years. Yeah, Bubbles
Yeah.
says
She
love
even
bombing.
refers to it as love bombing in the album.
Mhm.
Like, she actually calls it what it is. But I think in the anthology section that she calls it love bombing.
I don't remember that lyric,
Yeah, we'll have to
but
get to it at some
yeah.
point. But yeah, she does refer to herself at time as at one point as love bombing, and then song 4, she describes love bombing very articulately, but doesn't
Okay.
call it that, which we will get to.
Yes.
But right now,
We'll
we
get
can
to.
uh we basically covered everything.
Yeah.
I have notes here for our short department, which is what the fuck was that? But for the second verse.
Yeah.
The third song on the album is My Boy Breaks His Favorite Toys. I love the titles of all these songs.
Yeah. So this one, I figured out why I liked it
Mhm.
because we and Lisa were discussing it before, and she was like, "My boy is like, that's like one of the most midnightsy songs on the album." Because the whole time I was saying, I was like, I was traumatized by midnights. So some of the songs I initially did not like or didn't want to hear because it was too midnightsy. And I told her, I said, well, with me, there's always an exception to the rule. And this is the case. But I realized what it is. You know
What?
why?
Why?
It's because it's Midnights meets 1989. That's
Mm,
what the sound is because it's giving Out of the Woods bridge energy in the
mm.
production. And that's why. And then when she goes kind of faster, and I also do like the lyrics, even though they're kind of like, it's just like, gosh, like I said, she is so submissive in a relationship. It blew my
She
mind. It's
basically
very
refers to herself
submissive.
as a Barbie doll playing with the Ken
Yeah.
dolls, and then the Ken dolls breaking her, and it's
Which
sad.
she refers to herself as like an army doll that her is it about Joe or who's it
I
about?
think this one's about Joe.
Okay, I think so
Yeah.
too. Yeah, because she says like when he first got me. So she uses like a boy getting an army doll from the mall and being really excited about it, and then after a while he breaks the doll. He breaks
Yeah.
the action figure, and that's what she felt like. She felt broken or just like neglected or
Mhm,
whatever. Like she had this experience where
mhm.
she was her favorite his favorite thing in the world, and then was cast to the side,
Yeah.
which I think I view it a little bit differently where I feel like there's probably toxicity there on
Mhm.
both sides, or maybe she showed certain sides of herself that he didn't like, so he cooled off, or it's goes back and forth. But I
Mhm.
think that's how she felt, and that's still valid, and I can
Yeah.
understand the feeling. And I think it's a good metaphor, but it's kind of dark. And like I said,
Yeah.
it's
It
kind of
ca
kinky
it
even.
directly calls back to "You're Losing Me," where she's in the
Mhm.
bridge, she says, "Fighting in only your army," "Front
Yeah,
lines, don't
yes,
you ignore me."
yes.
And it's like breaking a toy and discarding it, and then the toy
Mhm.
is an army doll, and it's like, she always does that where she calls back the previous songs.
Yes, and then she says, like, her plastic smile face kinda
Mhm.
thing, which I think is interesting. So I can totally see it, like I said, there's you can see the power play in their relationship where he really was the one in power, which I do find really interesting because I didn't necessarily believe Lisa. Like, I was a doubter.
I
I
just
was
see
like,
through her. We know this
I know,
already.
because I
We're on
was like,
opposite ends of the zodiac chart.
I know. Well, I think for me, I'm like, I see how controlling she is, but it's
Mhm,
like, it must be her aqua side where she
mhm.
can really compartmentalize. And I didn't see that in her, but now I do I can do it with a
It's
broken heart.
also
Yeah.
very strongly the Cancer moon.
Hmm.
You know, the her Cancer moon, because she's like, if for Taylor's astrology, guys, she's a Sagittarius sun, Scorpio rising, Cancer moon, and then she has a stellium in her second house of Capricorn,
Hmm.
but she has her Venus right
In
at the
aqua.
start of Aquarius. And so she has all these different aspects to her. She's or she's so she has like this very water presenting side, and
Mhm.
it's often masked by this very strong earth stellium that she has. And then she'll have but her true self is this fire, is it's a Sagittarius.
Mhm.
But the way that she loves is air.
Mhm.
So she has all the different aspects to her. And one thing that Alex and I were talking about, Alex is like, she's too Capricorn. She can't
Mhm.
handle Pluto and Aqua. And I kept saying over and over again, unless she embraces her
Mhm.
Venus in Aquarius, which she totally does in this
She
album,
did.
because you don't know anything about Aquarius. Aquarius is like, it's logical, it's mind based,
Mhm.
it's analytical, it's looking at things from a distance, compartmentalizing.
Mhm.
And so when she like speaks about this album and all the hints leading up to it, like we hereby conduct this postmortem, it's
Mhm.
looking at it from a logical headspace, and then
Mhm.
occasionally slipping and then showing herself slipping into these emotional highs and lows throughout the album,
Mhm.
but then always pulling it back to, okay, let's analyze why I did that. And that's very
Mhm.
Aqua.
Yes.
I'm so happy.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think it's it's just very interesting because she's showing all of herself. So I
Yeah.
never knew just how submissive she was in a relationship, and she's putting it all out there.
Yeah.
And I think she wouldn't, because she would always present herself as like, I'm a feminist and, like,
Mhm.
hear me roar and I'm the man and all that. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm wearing the color, right? I'm wearing it, which it
And then
was
she's
like
like,
the
but daddy, I
ultimate.
love him.
Yeah. Her super femi Cancer moon. And yeah.
I love it. Yeah, that's that. But Daddy, I love it when we get to that song. That is the
Mhm.
perfect combination of a Sagittarius sun and a Cancer moon
Yes, it
coming
is.
together.
It's so good.
And then her Venus and Aqua going, fuck everyone, we're gonna make it
Yeah.
work. I
Yes,
know
because
he's crazy, but I love him.
it's Aquarius is also rebellion, which she's very
Yes.
rebellious in this. But yeah, so I like My Boy. I like it. I've decided I like it, and
Mhm.
I'm gonna listen to it more probably. But yeah, but that's basically what I have to
Yeah.
say. Do you have anything else to say on
Yeah,
it?
I think it's cute. I think it's a cute song. It's not my
Mhm.
favorite song on the album. I don't think it's bad. It's just not the song for me,
Mhm.
versus the next song, which we can get into, which is
Mhm.
what probably one of my favorite songs of the album, and probably very quickly becoming one of my favorite Taylor Swift songs of all time,
Oh,
which
nice.
is Down Bad. And I'm so happy when I first listened, I was like, oh my God, this song is good. And everybody else thought so because it's premiering as number 2 on the Billboard Hot 100 next
Oh,
week. And I
nice.
really hope she makes it the next single. But Down Bad, in my opinion, is a lyrical and sonic masterpiece. And it's a song about comparing love and being love
Love
bombed
bombed.
to an alien abduction. And she uses all this like alien imagery, and
Mhm.
she starts a song off like, "Did you really beam me up in a cloud of sparkling dust?" Just to basically dropped her in the middle of a field, and like abandoned her, and she's like, "Hey, where'd you go?"
Yes, this song is super Aqua as well. It's like a
Yeah,
very she really embraced her Venus and Aqua because this is probably, like, how she's experienced a lot of love in her life, or she likes guys that kinda do that kinda thing. Maybe the love bombing aspect, which is not good.
yeah.
But this is a Maddie Healy song, right?
Oh, for sure, because it's all about a very short-lived thing, and she's like, and she compares it to like having experiments done on her, because
Mhm.
that also calls back to the Fortnite music video where they're experimenting on her and torturing her, and it's like because he also wondered about her for the last 10 years, and
Mhm.
so he was just like, yeah, let's try it, and it was just, and so he experimented with her and then ghosted her, and
Mhm.
this song is about being ghosted by an alien.
When it's so interesting too, because it's kind of similar thematically to My Boy. So she
Yeah.
kind of probably she organized it that way to be like Joe kind of played with me in a sense, and
Yeah.
then so did Maddie in another sense. So
Yeah.
it's really interesting. But yeah, I think for me, I don't know what it is about Down Bad. I'm just not there yet. I think sometimes when it's just so steeped in aqua,
Mhm.
it is gonna take me time. Like I am the opposite sign. I'm a Leo, so it
Yeah.
takes me a bit. And I only just embraced my aqua like with my Saturn return.
Mhm.
So it's very new, but I think I will get there at some
Yeah.
point. But I'm
Versus
still
I'm an Aqua
processing.
Moon, so I
Yeah.
just got it from the beginning. I was like, I think I like I like the next day I messaged you and I was like, "This song is amazing." Like, I can't stop
But
listening to it.
I'm like, I don't get it. What? Like
I
I
had to
don't
explain it to Alex. I had to rewrite the song through a lesbian lens for
Yeah.
Alex to finally get it just a little bit.
Yes, but I think this one is literally like 100% aqua. Like it is so
Yeah.
Aquarian that I struggle. So I don't think it's bad. Obviously, I don't.
Yeah.
It's gonna take me probably like a couple years
Yeah.
or like at least
Until the
longer
hopefully the
than
music video. Like, Taylor, please, music
yeah, she
video of
needs to
Down
do
Bad with
that so that I can
alien imagery.
understand. Because I'm having kind of like how Lisa had with the Look What You Made Me Do, where it's like I don't quite understand.
But that only took me a week. It only took me a week, and it wasn't and even then, I kept coming back to it, like, "I need to keep listening to this, it's weird." But I was into it, I just didn't understand why until the music video,
Right?
where she's even though the song is very scorpionic, the music video itself, it has a Sag edge to it.
Yeah, it does.
And anything that's a Sagittarius, I can understand as a Gemini.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, I will get there, but it's difficult for me to get right off
Yeah.
the bat. So for me, I'm like, because I don't fall in love that way. Like, I know we're all shocked, but my experience of love is not like detached and analytical and whatever. It's
Mhm.
very like fiery, passionate, obsessive. You combine
Yeah.
the Scorpio in there too. So it's not like that for me. So
Yeah.
I'm
And
like,
then
if
the
somebody tried to do that to me, I'd find a way to go up in outer space and I would like kill them for doing that to me. Like I
well,
would not allow it to happen.
let's go for the chorus. She says, "Now I'm down bad, crying at the gym."
Yeah.
I loved it. When I heard that line for the
Relatable.
first time, I was like,
Yes.
crying at the gym. I know exactly what that's like. I mean,
Yes.
I mean, crying on the inside because I doubt Taylor was actually
Yeah.
crying on the outside of the gym, but she was like in her head, it was her version of crying, which is my
Yes.
version of crying. It's where she's like sweating and then the tears mix with the sweat and you can't tell the difference.
That line is really relatable. I was like, yeah,
Yeah. Down bad, crying.
yeah.
And everything comes out teenage petulance. And I get that too. It's like when
Yeah.
you're like pissed off, like what you know?
Yeah, and I think there's that little bit of reputation-y
Yes, there's a
sound in
Reputation
it
sound.
too.
That's why I love it because
Mhm.
I love Reputation.
Yeah.
I embraced Reputation right away. People were like, "I don't like this album. I'm not buying it." I was like, "Good, more for me." And I got
I
tickets
bought
to the
it.
concert. Yeah, it was good. Um, and then she's like, "F it if I can't have him," where she just says, "Fuck it." I might just die. It would make no difference. Like that's very fatalist. I
Yeah, it
might just
is.
die. It would make no
It's very
difference.
dramatic.
Yeah,
That's very, that's her sad side. She's
yeah,
being really dramatic. That's drama. So
yeah.
the drama. But
And then
yeah,
she's like down bad, waking up in blood, and we're like, "What blood?" Like,
everyone kept thinking of a period.
I know.
I'm
Staring at
like,
the sky, come back and pick me up. Fuck it, if I can't have us, I might not get up. I might stay. I thought it was like, yeah. Anyways, yeah, and then they did post-chorus, and then, um, "Did you really take all my old clothes just to leave me
yeah,
here naked and alone in a field in my same old town that somehow seems so hollow now? They'll say I'm nuts if I talk about the
yeah,
existence
I
of
like
you."
that line. I
It's
like
so
it a lot.
good. It's so good.
That's good.
And then the bridge is, like, one of my favorite
Yeah,
bridges.
I like
I'm
the
sorry I'm
bridge.
reading through these lyrics. When you get to your favorite song, Alex, I'll let you read through the lyrics. But I loved your hostile takeovers,
Yeah,
alien
it's
imagery,
good.
encounters closer and closer. All your indecent exposures, because like you're get abducted by aliens, you get like probed and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really good. It's good writing. It's very good.
Yeah. And then there's a callback to Alex and I's favorite Taylor Swift song of all time, which is New Romantics from 1989,
Oh,
where
yes.
in New Romantics, she's like, "Leave me stranded, it's so romantic." And then in here, she's like, "How dare you think it's romantic, leaving me safe and stranded."
Yeah, it's really interesting.
Yeah,
I think it's because he is such a part of her life. Like,
yeah,
they met during the 1989 era. So that's probably why she used that,
yes,
because they were really, I did not have any idea they were that close. She really did keep that a secret. She really did.
yeah.
I'm shocked.
Well, the famous her and Carly Kloss scene happened at a 1975 concert. You trying to get someone's attention?
Anyway,
Just
as her
um,
team says, they were just whispering in each other's ears.
yeah, it's possible. Here's the thing. In all likelihood, it's a bad angle, and that's what was happening. Um, Another possibility. She said Carly Kloss. She's like Carly Kloss. When I see him backstage, this is what I'm gonna do.
Could be,
And
or it could be that
yeah,
they were together.
yeah.
Shh, cancel
Taylor, we
it,
don't.
shut it down. I still think Maroon is about her. I don't care what people say.
Oh,
Anyways,
I think Maroon is about Maddie Healy now that we have all this information because she starts referring to Maroon imagery in this album.
I think Maroon is about a lot of people.
Yeah, I think it's definitely a composite sketch.
It's an
Um,
amalgamation, yeah.
well, the next song on album is "So Long London." It's a track five. For those of you who don't know, Taylor's track fives are infamous for being kind of like the most emotional song on the album.
Mhm. It's sad,
And
heartbreaking.
yeah, in this one, she decided to give the Joe, the most boring person in the world. Now, I don't think "So Long London's" a bad song, but I do not think it's the most emotional song on the album. I actually do like "So Long London." It has the most
Mhm.
folklorish sound to it.
Yes, it's
Yeah,
folklore. I think
yeah,
that it's during that time that she knew it wasn't gonna work. And I
yeah,
think that that's why she used that, because again, she uses her sonic eras to take us back to different years. So I think that that is a very 2020, where she's like, this may not progress. Like, I think they were progressing normally throughout 16, 17, 18, 19, and then they got to 20 and it just stopped.
yeah,
And so I think that's why she did that sound. And then it took her a long time to accept that it wasn't going to happen
yeah.
too.
Um,
But
and then I'm pretty sure we know this about Joe. Even though Matty Healy is also British, Joe is very specifically London. He's the
mhm,
London boy.
yeah.
A song that she will likely never sing now in
I
concert.
love London Boy.
I
I
know.
love that song. I'm gonna represent Lover
Yeah.
today, so I'm representing Joe.
I like the song too, but I don't think she's ever gonna sing it
I
live.
know.
Yeah.
She'll never sing Invisible String either, and that is like, I love those songs,
Yeah.
and I think with Invisible String, she really was so in love with him
Mhm.
still, and I think she was really holding on to hope, and it's very sad that
Yeah.
it didn't work, but I think, we kind of already got into So Long London earlier in the stream, but I really like the sound. I like, Aaron's production, or, his work on the song.
Yeah.
I think it's a really high class type of song,
Yeah.
in my opinion. I think it's very high art. I
Yeah.
really loved it, and I love the call out to London, and
Mhm.
London, and her little
Yeah.
singing, and it's very Britishy, which I
Yeah.
appreciate. And she has some of the most, honestly, just so bitter and guttural
Mhm.
lyrics in So
Yeah.
Long London.
I mean, calling back to what we were saying earlier, I get
Mhm,
let you get give you all that youth for free. Like that's
mhm,
really sad for a woman. Like a lot of men don't understand this. Like
mhm,
my my friend, I haven't spoken to her in a while, but we're still technically friends. I was telling Alex all about this story of her. Like she dated this guy for 9 years, and he had said
mhm,
the whole time they were dating, "I don't want to get married. I don't want to have kids." And eventually, she just got tired of it. And then, literally within 2 years, he got married, and now he has a kid.
mhm.
And it's like, and it goes back to that thing of men will just lead like latch onto women. And I mean, to be fair, women let this happen to them, but
Mhm.
but still it's like as a man, you should know better as well. Like they should just both know better, but they latch on to
Yeah.
women and they keep them all throughout their 20s until they're done with them, and then they find someone else. that they actually want to be with. And to me, it's just like, why don't you just look for the person you want to be with
Right.
in general? And it's really just comes down to they don't want to be alone, but they're not ready to commit in that way.
Mhm.
And I feel like that's what So Long London is talking about.
Yes.
And she could not meet his needs. Like she couldn't make him smile, which we talk about. We talk about smiling later
Mhm.
in a different song. And she couldn't, but she's like, how much sad did you think I had in me? Because like he was like her rescuer, and
Mhm.
he didn't feel like he was needed in her life if he wasn't rescuing her. And
Mhm.
that's really a gross place to be in a relationship.
Yeah, I think it's also Taylor struggles. I'm gonna get a little bit political here because I do
Mhm.
think it does play. I mean, Lover era is her political era, so it is relevant. But she was extremely feministy with
Yeah.
Joe. And I think part of it is that she felt like she had to be, or she felt like that's what he wanted. So I don't know if it was ever real or completely real. I think
Yeah.
some of it was real because it probably comes from her mom, and there's just
Mhm.
all this stuff. And so I think for her, she would only show him that she needed him when she was sad or when she
Mhm.
was broken, never when she's happy or when she's doing well. She would probably just go into work mode or whatever. And I think a lot of women struggle with that, especially someone like her, where she does
Yeah.
have a masculine edge. And, it can be a struggle where it's like, you have to still show a guy that he's needed, even in the good times, not just the
Yeah.
bad times. And I don't think she did that. So I think nowadays she's totally overcompensating, and she's literally like, she's cool girl now with
Yeah.
Travis. I mean, I don't think that's gonna work either, but she's whiplashing.
I don't think it's gonna work either, but I am happy for her in many ways with the Travis
Yeah.
relationship simply because she's finally going out and doing things. And like
Yeah.
she's an extroverted person and she's like
Yes.
Sagittarius. And he like, for example, tonight they're at some banquet
Right.
for Pat Mahomes, whatever. And like he's taking her out and they're doing
Yeah.
stuff and she's getting to socialize. So she's probably like very happy with the
Mhm.
situation she's in and then conflating it with him.
Mhm.
We're sorry, we're reading the comment here. I think that
Oh,
can
yeah.
happen in a gay male relationship too, where the younger years aren't recognized as having value to the other partner, especially pre-legal marriages. Okay, interesting.
I don't know
Yeah.
about that. I think it cannot compare to a woman. It's not similar because, like, for a gay man, like if I want to have a kid, for
Mhm.
example, I have time.
Yeah.
It's different. For a woman, you don't have endless time.
Mhm.
It's a very different thing, and it's not. I think women can have babies in their 30s and all that. I'm a believer. It's
Yeah.
not like I'm saying that. I'm just saying, like, let's say a woman wanted to have like 5 kids. Like, if she's 30, she's probably not going to have 5 kids.
Yeah.
She's not going to be able to have what she wanted. Options close. If I still want to have 5 kids at the age of 45, I could.
Yeah.
It's very different.
Yeah.
So, but I think as far as like when you're a gay man, the youth aspect, it does matter, but it matters in terms of people who specifically fetishize youth. So
Yeah.
they would dump you anyway as you got older. So it wouldn't
Yeah.
matter. So I think if you're looking specifically for a guy who wants a young guy, they're going to dump you anyways as you get
Yeah.
older. So
Yeah.
that's how it works in the gay world. Is there are toxic guys where they view things as a certain way and they only like what they like. And if you like, let's say they're into twink, then if you get older, then you're not a twink anymore, then they will get rid of you and get another one in. So I
Yeah.
don't think it's necessarily value in the same way that it's valuable for a woman. It's not the same because looks and stuff, if you take care of yourself, you will be fine. I
Yeah.
don't know, like, especially as a man, like, society doesn't judge male aging as harshly, and I think
Mhm.
in the gay world, it's overplayed. I think it's compared too much to womanhood, and
Yeah.
it's not a fair
Yeah,
comparison.
I feel like
It
when we
just
talk about
isn't.
youth, it's always gonna come down to fertility, like any kind of thing
Yeah.
like that. And I think you're absolutely right. I mean, I was trying to consider it, but I didn't see it from that perspective until you said it, which Alex, good job being here for the girls. But that is exactly what it is. It comes always down to just yeah, because we don't have that much time. And Taylor is probably she like I said, I don't
Mhm.
know if she wanted kids, but she wanted the option.
Yeah, because I think too in the gay world, it's more about how you look. It's very
Yeah,
superficial. So it's like if you look good or if you look young or if you look this, it doesn't matter.
yeah,
It's more about how you look. Are you in shape? Do you look good or are you busted and you look like crap? If you look
yeah,
like crap, then yeah. But
yeah,
usually you'd look like that because you were a big druggie or something, which that's what happens in the gay world.
yeah,
So if we're going to compare it. But in terms of like wasting your youth, it's more of a woman thing to
yeah,
go through
definitely.
because yeah, it goes to fertility. It goes back to that.
Mhm.
So
And then we ranked all the track fives so we could
mhm,
find out where So Long London lands on here. And just because we have it so far down the list doesn't mean that it's a bad song. It's just that she has like
mhm.
superb track fives that are like her multiple magnum opuses, or opie, I don't know. But number one would be All Too Well from Red. Number two is Tolerated from Evermore.
Yes.
Number three is My Tears Ricochet from Folklore.
Yes. Love.
Surprisingly, You're on Your Own Kid from Midnights makes it number four. That just tells you how great a song that was,
Yeah.
despite being on such a dumpster fire of an album.
Yes, for sure.
White Horse by Fearless, that was her second track five ever, and it's the antithesis to Love Story, where Love Story is about being like you're Romeo and I'm
Mhm.
Juliet, and we're gonna run away together and be in love. And White Horse comes around to tell you, actually, you're not a prince, I'm not a princess. This is just a small town, and there's no white horse to come and save me,
Mhm.
and so that's what makes it's an excellent song of self-reflection to have written at such a young age, and
Mhm.
that's what I think makes it number five. And then there's Dear John, a classic from Speak Now, where she eviscerates John
Mhm.
Mayer. She just destroys him in cold blood. And number seven, Alex's favorite, The Archer.
I do love it. I
Yeah,
love it as a track 5. I think it is actually my favorite, but
yeah.
I do agree that it's not the best, but I still
That's only because there's just so many good track fives.
yeah,
And I'm
that's
not saying Art
true.
Archer's bad, like, it's just that it's very Sagittarius,
Yes,
but it's
and
also
Scorpio.
yeah, but it's also just very, but it's basically the most honest part of the Lover album,
Yeah.
which is Toxic and Lying, because she's like, "Who could ever love me, and who could stay, and who could ever leave me, and who could stay," right?
Mhm.
And that's she's basically singing this to Joe, uh, and that like I said, it's very sad, and I feel like The Archer is kind of like the precursor to So Long London.
Yeah, I think, um, yeah, I mean, she had a lot of issues
Yeah,
when she was with him. Honestly, I think she had a lot of mental health issues.
yeah.
I think that he tried to help her, but I also think that he had a lot of mental health issues too.
I
So,
feel like she couldn't do I don't think he tried to help her. I think she had mental health issues, but he had so many. It was one of those situations where she had to be the sane one in the room for
oh,
him. And so she never
yeah,
got to work on herself. And when she finally
yeah,
had and I feel like Midnights was her working through her mental health issues and
mhm,
starting out with Lavender Haze, where she's like full on high as shit in the music video
mhm,
with the red eyes, having
yeah,
smoked a whole bunch, and then saying, I don't need anything. I just want to be this Lavender Haze. And then by the end of You're Losing Me, she's like, I can't do this anymore.
yeah.
You
Well, I
know?
think the other thing too is maybe I mean, she was super feministy,
Yeah.
which, like I said, I think that might be even why she chose him because it sounds kind of like she had to be the man in the relationship. And if that's the case, like if she had to be the sane one in the room, or if she had to be the one to kind of pick herself up or clean herself off
Yeah.
and be like, okay, like I'm going to be the stable one. There is one line in a future lyric that we'll talk about where she says, "You were the hothouse flower to my outdoorsman."
Yeah. That's next
That's
week.
she's saying she's more masculine than him.
Yeah.
And that is not a firm foundation. So she should have gotten out a lot
Oh, for sure.
sooner.
Definitely. I blame
Yeah.
COVID for making it go on that long.
Yeah. I think so too. Because I think she felt like she couldn't meet anybody.
Yeah.
Yeah. But she should have left.
Everybody else couldn't meet anyone either. So I totally get her. She like
Yeah.
clung on to that relationship. Like, I don't want to be alone.
Yeah, I get that too.
Yeah.
But
Then after The Archer, Delicate from Reputation. Isn't
mhm.
it? Isn't it?
Cute
Isn't
song.
it? I love that song. Um, then So Long London, finally at number 9, and then All You
Mhm.
Had to Do Was Stay from 1989,
Mhm.
which is Alex's favorite album and like Alex's
Yes.
least favorite track 5.
Yeah, I
But we
wasn't
did put
into
Cold
it.
as You from Debut down there because nobody ever remembers it.
I just don't think it's well written, honestly. I mean,
Yeah.
it's she probably wrote it when she was like 12 or 13 or
Yeah.
something, so I'm not gonna shade on her, but it's like it's just not comparatively. But
Yeah.
yeah. Alrighty, so next one, or what's our
Is
next
But
song?
Daddy, I Love Him, which is one of my favorite songs of the album. It's
I love
so
this
good.
song.
It's so
I love
good.
this song.
The first time, like I just love all the reactions people are posting to this song where they're listening and she's like, running with my dress unbuttoned, but daddy screaming, but daddy, I love him. Um, and then she's like, I'm having his baby. Pause. There's like a pause, and she's like, no, I'm not, but you should have seen your faces. And every person who listens to that song is like, I'm having his baby. And they're like, and then she's like, no, I'm not, but you should have seen your faces. Everybody's like, oh my God, because they did make a face when she said it. And this song is basically it's a love song troll to
Yeah.
her fans saying, "Stop judging my
Yes.
relationships." Like, because people were like writing open letters to her, like the "Speak Up Now" letter when she was doing her like "Speak Now" release of like, "Please stop dating Matty Healy. He's problematic," and he said
Wow.
problematic things about certain people and certain
Cringe.
like groups of people because he's kind of a troll, and she's just like, it's none of your freaking business, and she's like, let me tell you something about my good name, it's mine alone to
Mhm.
disgrace, you know. And
Very
she's basically,
Aqua. Mhm,
yes,
that's a very Aqua thing.
and we're
Yeah.
so happy that she's finally like embracing that side because she's such a
Yes.
pathological people pleaser, as stated in You're Losing Me, the last song in Midnight's. And here she's saying, like, I'm tired of trying to
Yeah.
please you. I need to, she says in the song, if all you want from me is something like about propriety, like then
That's
you don't know
that's
me.
in Guilty as Sin. But
Oh yeah,
yeah,
guilty as sin. But
that's
yeah, but it
later.
calls back to this though, because that
Mhm.
song's also about him, you know.
Mhm.
Uh but yeah, she basically tells her fans to fuck off.
Yes, and I love it. I love the vibe. I love, like you said, the marriage between Sag and Cancer
Yes.
and her personality. It's the most fiery song on the album, in my opinion, especially the first half.
Yeah.
Most fiery, which I love it. I'm a very fiery person, so I love
Yeah.
it. And yeah, it's
And I
beautiful.
I know like people want Down Bad to be the next single, followed by I Could Do With a Broken Heart, but she needs to make But Daddy I Love Him a single as well, just for the music video of her running in a dress unbuttoned,
Yes.
screaming But Daddy I Love Him. Because like it just I want to call back to that love story fearless era where she's like dressed in a princess dress. I want to see it, but
Mhm.
like not ironically like in Bejeweled, but just full on leaning into the corniness.
Yes. I love it. I love it
Yeah.
as a song. I love it sonically. I like how it brings back Red for me sonically.
Yeah. Fearless Speak Now, Red Marriage, and it's perfect.
Mhm. I
Yeah.
love it. It's gorge.
Yes. Like definitely, in my opinion, top three on the first half of the
Mhm.
album. Fresh
One of
Out
my
the
faves.
Slammer. Next song. I love this song because it's like the biggest diss she could ever give Joe Alwyn is basically calling him jail and then writing the breakup album that's supposedly about him and making it about somebody else. And this is basically like, I'm fresh out the slammer. I know who my first call is going to be to, and it was to Betty Healy.
Yeah, that was kind of scarring. This one I'm not as into sonically. I do think it calls back to Reputation though, like in terms of
Yeah.
melody.
Fresh out the slammer.
It gives a little
I
bit
love it.
of, for me, sonically, it gives a slight King of My Heart, like the way the melody is and how she
Mm.
sings it. So she's kind of reputation-y. I think it's interesting how long she was in love with Maddie.
Yeah. Where
She
she's
was
like,
in
I
love with
knew I could call him.
she was in love with him longer than Joe. Like, why do you think she didn't just try to be with him? What ended up
Yeah.
happening there?
I just think that there was never right place or wrong time, and Maddie Healy's kind of like a well-known drug addict, and I think she finally saw the
Mhm.
full brunt of that.
Mhm.
Because in the second half of the project, the anthology, which we'll talk about next week, she basically says like, "You loved me, but you loved drugs more."
Yeah.
She says that, and so like she's like, "Well, okay, wasn't it?" She probably like called him out on his drug use, and he's like, "Peace, bye."
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think so too, but maybe she didn't know how bad it was, but it's like, how could you not know for 10 years?
She
I
was in
mean, it's
denial.
like
Yeah.
Denial, yeah.
But she does refer back to Joe in this song, even though technically it's about Matty Healy, where she's like gray and blue in fights and tunnels. Tunnels being Cornelia Street
Oh.
before I hit the tunnel. Handcuffed to the spell I was under for just 1 hour of sunshine. She was like looking for any like breath of like fresh
Wow.
air. Um,
Ooh, what a shady song towards Joe. Oh my
yeah,
gosh. This is like her I Hate Joe song.
yeah.
Damn. Yeah.
Um,
She
yeah.
really is like fuck Joe in this song.
My friends tried, but I wouldn't hear it. Watch me daily disappearing for just one glimpse of
Ooh.
his smile. She's
Ooh.
basically Joe could just never smile.
Sad.
Yep.
That is sad.
And this is where she says, swirled you into all my poems.
Oh.
Mhm. Yeah. So she's like, I was dating this guy, but I was thinking about you the whole time.
I know it's giving high infidelity energy,
Yeah.
that song where she's like, you're gonna make me cheat because you don't love me enough, kind of thing.
Yeah. Yikes. Um, and then we go on to Florida. Florida. And it's like
Lesbian
one,
Florida.
two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's a hell of a
Yeah.
drug.
Yeah, Florida, I haven't listened to it enough, but I really do like it. And I think, like I said, I think all the songs are good, with the exception of the second verse of Tortured Lesbian. That one is not good.
Yeah.
But the rest of them, I'm like, yeah, they're
Yeah.
good.
I do like
This,
Florida, but it's like it's more of a I'm not gonna go out of my way to listen to it. I'm gonna listen to it on
mhm,
the playlist, you know,
mhm,
where I'm like cleaning my house. I'm not gonna skip it, but it's not one of the songs that I run to listen
mhm.
to versus
Oh,
like, yeah. Um, but I
mhm,
will say Florence and the Machine, I love Florence and the Machine,
mhm.
and her vocals on this are amazing. I think
Amazing.
they have a very strange ideal of what Florida is. Or she's like, I'm gonna get fucked up in Florida. I'm like, you can, but it's like you, you know, Florida's mostly like golf courses and theme parks. And then there's like a bunch of alligators and that's basically it. Like so I get the swamp imagery, but it's I don't I wouldn't go to Florida to like escape, you know? I go to I mean in that way, you know? Like she's referring to Florida as like a place that you go because you need to murder your husband because he's cheating. And which is her first, she has many references to Joe cheating in this
Oh,
album, and then
yeah.
her like
She does.
cheating as a reaction, like him cheating
That's
first
true.
and her reaction cheating, or if not at least emotional cheating, because we don't. I mean, she
Yeah.
could have physically cheated, but we know at the very least she was emotionally cheating.
Yes.
And she might see it the same, you know, knowing
Mhm,
Taylor, because although because we know that she mulls over it in the next song, like, is this emotional cheating? Um,
mhm.
but yeah, I mean, I think it's a very interesting song. I just think it's kind of Delulu.
Yeah, at least it was like, that's not how Florida really is, you guys. Like,
No, Florida's like a bunch of old people driving golf carts and like and playing putt putt.
and you were like, it's basically like a huge suburb.
Yeah,
I love
it's like
that.
where the suburb meets the Everglades, and that's
Yeah.
it.
I love that description of Florida. It's a big suburb. That's
Yes.
funny.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I mean, it's great. It's a lot of fun. I love going to Florida. It's warm and there's a lot of things to do, but it's escape for amusement, not escape for
Yeah.
like, I need to get fucked up in a bathroom. Like she thinks about it in the song and get drunk and my cheating husband sinks into the swamp. I'm like, if you want to see like swamp imagery, there's a lot of other states you can get
Yeah.
to.
I think it might have called back to the pandemic too, because I wonder
Yeah.
if she went there during that time, because that's kind of what it gave me when I heard
Yeah.
it. Like, it's open. Ooh, we can do whatever we
Mhm.
want in Florida,
Yeah.
that kind of
Even though she has
thing.
our big ass house in Rhode Island.
She just
Um,
flies everywhere every day.
yeah.
She could be fly down to Florida and then fly back
Yeah.
that same day.
And we applaud you, Taylor. Use your money. We're pro-capitalist here. Take capitalism for the win.
Take
But anyways,
capitalism.
take capitalism. Yeah, she's our capitalist queen. Anyways, Guilty as Sin is the
Oh
next
my
song. And this
gosh.
is another one of the best songs on the album.
Yes. So this one is my
Yeah,
favorite song
it's so
ever.
good.
No, I'm just
This is
kidding.
if I
It's
had to
not
pick a
ever, but
if I had to pick
oh,
a fifth single on this. So I want to be like, we have Fortnite, I want Down Bad, I want I Can Do With a Broken Heart, But Daddy I Love Him, and Guilty as Sin. I want five
mhm.
singles from this album, and I want those five songs.
I love Guilty as Sin. I love it
Yeah.
sonically. To me, it's I've been describing it as like it's 60s meets 90s,
Yeah.
but like teeny bop, romance, love song, gay kind of. It's kind of gay. It's
Yeah.
kind of like lesbian as
Drowning
well.
in the blue night.
Because she says, without ever touching his skin, how can I be guilty of sin? And
Yeah.
I change it to without ever touching her skin, how can I be a lesbian?
Oh my god.
I do sing it that way a lot because I'm like, this is giving such closeted energy in this, but it's because she's trying to hide that she's in love with her,
Yeah.
forbidden person.
So Bubble Landia says, "Oh, that is insightful that Florida just might have been the welcome to visit state at the time."
Yeah.
Yeah, she said
That's,
she could because you could get that was the only place you can get fucked up in
yeah, pretty
2020.
much.
You
Yeah.
just go there. Nobody wanted to go to North Dakota, so or South
Yeah,
Dakota.
that's
One of those. It's like the other open state. This is Taylor's sexiest song, "Guilty of Sin." The
yes.
second verse, if you listen, if you understand very basic metaphors, she's doing stuff alone and by herself in her bedroom.
I don't mind it though
Yeah.
because
Oh,
I'm
I don't think
like,
there's anything wrong with
it's a
it.
part of life. I mean,
No,
but
I was just shocked to hear her put it into a song because her
she
whole
really no holds bar. Yeah.
yeah, she's like the first 10 like albums of my career was family friendly. That was always the brand, no matter what, family friendly. And she's just like, never mind with this song. And I was like, good, because you know you're finally like telling us who you are. And you're
Mhm.
basic, and she said this line in this out on this song, which is like, I was told there's no such thing as bad thoughts, only your actions matter. Because she was probably mulling over, is this emotional cheating that I'm
Mhm.
literally thinking about another guy during sexual encounters with my steady boyfriend?
Yeah, or when they're separated,
Or they're
she's
separated, she's thinking about someone
fantasizing
else.
about Maddie. And like you said, whether it was a physical affair or emotional, I think
Yeah.
it's more emotional because I think illicit
Mhm.
affairs, it probably has to do with the emotional cheating that she did with
Yeah.
Maddie, where they were talking, I love you, babe, and this and that. And who knows what the hell he said to her,
Yeah.
but apparently it got her going and she's screaming his name
Yeah.
in bed. So
But the song, like, triggered people. It weirdly triggered the puritanical minds of Gen Z,
I
which I find to be
know.
very weird because they're, like, the most, like there's, like, a million genders and there's, like, a million sexual orientations, but how dare Taylor talk about the M word?
I
Yeah.
know.
And
I
I'll be
didn't
right back. I have to be right back, sorry, but you keep talking about it.
okay. Yeah, I don't get that. Like, I think Gen Z is just weird with what they get upset with. Like, one of their biggest things on this album they were mad about is that she called herself bitch in one of the songs. And I'm like, really? They're like, that's a misogynistic word. Like they have like really weird morals on things that just don't matter or are not a big deal. And so for me, I think they didn't like that she was singing about that, maybe because I don't know. I don't even know why they didn't like it. I don't really get it. Because to me, I'm like, I just think of it as a part of life. And I just love the song. I think it's really romantic. I think it's really teeny bop. I think it's super like I love it sonically. I love the lyrics. I love this song. This is my favorite song on the actual first album. So I listen to it often because it's like, I spent a lot of years closeted, so I understand it. I understand what it's like to keep your longings locked, and not tell anybody about a crush or something. And I mean no one. And she might not have told anyone about how she felt about him.
So he says, I always hear elderly women self identify as the B word because they compare it to the reality of being a boss with what men can do. I did not think you meant boss or bitch with the B word. I thought you meant bisexual. Because there's also that whole joke of later in life lesbian, where if Taylor were to ever decide to embrace the masculine edge of her, she would be later in life.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, but yeah, as I was saying, I had to go run and like blow my nose real quick. But
Oh yeah.
but yeah, she's very much Like Gen Z is so weird with the way that
Mhm.
they're supposedly so open, but wanting to trap people in boxes. And to me, I found that that's like very a Gen X holdover, which just makes sense because
Mm.
they're the children of Gen X
Yes.
versus millennials are the children of boomers. And
Mhm.
boomers were like the free love generation. And millennials are slightly more conservative than the boomers, but
Yeah.
I think we're like people like the crap on us, but we're like a very balanced,
Yeah.
very 50-50 versus Gen X and Gen Z are like very like extremes.
Yeah, when I think millennials are very polarized, so there's,
Yeah.
like, complete opposites, and it's difficult to generalize millennials because for every millennial that is never gonna get married and wants to live in a pod, there's a millennial that got married under the age of 30 and already has 3 kids, so
My
it's, like,
brother
really weird.
yeah. My
Yeah.
brother got married at 27 and his 5th kid is on the way. And
Yes.
I'm 30, I'm turning 35 this year and I have 0 kids. It's not because I don't want to. I would totally
Yeah.
be having 5 kids if I could. It just didn't
Right.
happen because of that same reason though, there's so many millennial men who are like, "I don't wanna get married. I don't wanna have
Yeah.
kids."
It's tricky. So
Yeah.
you can't generalize anything really, but I think with Gen Z and Gen X, you can because they're
Yeah.
more kind of and same with boomers too. They're more in lockstep. So that is a
Yeah.
weird thing about millennials where we're not like united really on
Mhm.
anything. The other thing is we're probably the most creative generation
In a
because
long
it was
time.
really, really pushed on us to be creative when we were kids. So, and I think Gen Z is one of the least creative actually to follow us.
Yeah.
So they're not creative. They don't see things, you know, in general, they have a hard time with gray, shades of gray.
Yeah.
Everything is black and white for them. And
Tortured
for
Poets
us,
Department,
yes, for us,
gray,
for
my nails
millennials, everything
gray.
is gray,
Yeah.
it's like, I can't say that, or I don't know.
Yeah.
It's like
I forgot to
it
rep my merch. Tortured Poets Department. I don't have the ring yet. It's coming though.
yes,
Necklace, and then I have the TPD earrings.
yes.
Her merch this time around. So sorry to take a little break with this. Her merch was fantastic. She like fired her old merch team in her old warehouse, and she's like, you know what? For this album drop, we're going fancy, 24 karat plated jewelry.
I
Like we're
know.
we're fancy bitches now. So go ahead.
Well, I just think Gen Z is so weird because
Yeah.
they're the generation where they're gonna get mad about Taylor singing about playing with herself, but they're also gonna be like, "Don't you dare say anything against SW." That
Yeah.
there's nothing wrong with that. It's like, you guys are weird. Like, if anything, you should switch that. One is clearly not as bad as the other. So
Yeah.
they're very like their morality is really off too.
Yeah.
And it's just based in rebellion, which is very Gen X. So they really did capture that, or
Yeah.
they are taking that on from their parents because that's how Gen X is, where they are not. A lot of them, not all, obviously, but a lot of them are not super moral, or if they are, their morality is rooted in rebellion against
Yeah.
boomers.
And
It's
then
like what?
even then, it's like the rebellion, it's like a lot of times the rebellion is part of the culture. So they're rebelling against things that don't even exist. And so they
Mm,
end up whiplashing, like this is like Gen X. So they end up
mhm,
whiplashing to things that make no sense. It's like,
mhm.
that issue that you're complaining about is not as big a deal as you think it is, and yet you
Yeah,
went the full total extreme.
yeah, and I think Gen Z is kind of doing that.
Yeah.
But I think they're also like I said, I mean, how weird is it that how dare Taylor write a song like this, but also don't ever say anything bad about an OnlyFans girl
Yeah.
or somebody who's a prosti.
But
It's
Taylor
like,
can't do it her own home.
and to me, I'm just sitting here as a millennial being like, oh, so she was emotionally cheating. Like, that is wrong, I think.
Yeah.
But I don't judge her because it's like we all make mistakes. And, I just view it that way where I'm like, it is a mistake. She kind of sees it that way. She felt
Mhm.
guilty about it,
Yeah.
which
Well, that's
I
why
don't,
she says, "I feel guilty
yeah,
about this." But it's also
it's
I
human
don't
though. Yeah.
exactly, it's human and it's like, is it wrong? Sure, it's
Mhm.
wrong, but it's like look, we're not being moralistic about it by calling it wrong. What we're saying is that it's one thing to do know it's wrong and then to like not feel bad about it. It's another thing to actually to deal with those feelings because everybody's gonna
Mhm.
do something wrong in their life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I she's not the first person to do it, you know? It's
Yeah.
like nobody's perfect either, and I'm not convinced that she cheated on him. I don't think she did. I don't think she
Mhm.
cheated physically with Joe. Like, I don't think she slept with anybody else. But unless if they had, like, an open thing, which that is kind of it's a rumor, but I can't see her doing that because I just don't
No.
see it. But I do think she had this going on with Maddie the whole
Yeah.
time. So that's kind of her gray area, and maybe
He's
that
just a
was
friend. One of
yeah,
those.
or well, because maybe Joe was cheating, and so she's like, "Well, if he's gonna be talking to other girls or even sleeping with other girls, then I'm gonna do this."
Well, the
But
line
again, she
"cheating
should have
husband"
left.
appears in 2 different
Yeah,
songs in his album,
yeah.
and she in a different song, I think on the second on the anthology, she mentions that, like, their relationship was interrupted by interlopers.
Oh, she
Yeah,
should have left him a long time ago.
yeah. I just
So long,
I
la
just
da
feel
da
like
da.
to her it's like but it's like a sunk cost investment, like, she's
Yeah,
like, "I put so much time into this, I need to try and make it work because I gave him all my youth for free." And that's basically what she's thinking, like, I invested so much, and I'm just gonna, like, dump him, and I think she just got to the point where she's like she was about to be on top of the world, her tour was starting, and I feel
mhm,
like all the success before the tour started with the ticket sales and stuff, and she's just like she probably realized, "Oh gosh, I'm so much happier
yeah,
just
being
just
out.
being
Yeah,
out and, like, about to do this tour than I have been for the last 6 years, staying inside with this guy who's sad."
mhm. Yeah, I think he was too sad too, like, he
Yeah,
has issues, and I think it's really sad actually when I think about it, but
yeah,
I think that she she shoulda left him. She probably shoulda left him in 2019 even, but
yeah,
she couldn't have because she's a lover, and it would have been against her image, and it would have confused everybody. So that was her toxic lover era. That's where she became toxic. That's where she got
yeah,
really bad because she let her career control her life, and it should have been the other way. So, but
yeah.
I mean, she understands that now, but anyways, what's the next
Oh, I was just gonna say really quick
Oh,
before we move
yeah.
on, that, I feel like this is the it's like the precursor to Down Bad, where she's like, "I feel
Oh,
guilty
yeah.
this," and then she's like, "Finally, it happened," and then she's like and
Mhm.
then it was like, "Ugh," it was a letdown. So she has all these fantasies in her head that she thinks about in
Yeah.
Guilty as Sin, and Down Bad is the reality of what happened.
Yeah, no, wasn't it?
Mhm. Yeah.
I agree.
Anyways, next song is "Who's Afraid of Little Old Me," and this is my number 1 most favorite song on the album. And it's funny because all the songs are like, "This is my favorite song." I was just like, "Hmm."
No, 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 no. I like this one a
Okay,
lot.
good, good.
This one took me a minute though, because it's super Aquarian. It's
Yeah.
a very Aquarius anger, but
It's
she has
Speak
a
Now
drop
meets
of
Reputation and
yes,
Her Unholy Love Child.
she has a drop of Scorpio in it. That which is
Yeah.
probably why I could still get it because she goes that first one where she's like, "Who's afraid of little old me?" And
Yeah.
then the Scorpio comes in and is like, "You should be," and I'm like,
Yeah.
I hear it.
Yeah.
It's there. So it kind of
Mhm.
woke me up to it, and then I'm like, "Okay, it's Aquarius anger. It's not
Yeah.
like Mad Woman. It's Aquarius anger where the anger is spread all over. It's like a very
Yeah.
big picture
Well,
anger."
the way that we were talking about it earlier is because Aquarius and Capricorn are both Saturn ruled,
Mhm,
and she has the huge stellium in Capricorn, she has the Venus in Aquarius, and Capricorn anger, which she exhibited in Reputation. That's why it's a Speak Now
mhm.
versus Speak Now
Reputation.
and Reputation's Unholy Love Child, because Capricorn is like it's like, "Who's afraid of little me? You should be. I'm gonna prove you wrong." And
Mhm.
Aquarius is like, "I will prove you right,
Yes.
and you better be afraid." Like
Yeah. His reputation was like, "Wait, what they said about me isn't true. Like, I'm a nice person. I promise, I promise." That's Capricorn.
Yeah,
But Aquarius is like, "You should be afraid of me because 'cause I'm not," and
yeah.
it's like, "Ooh,"
You think I have teeth? Well, I do.
Yeah, and I kind of feel that because I'm a Leo. That's how
Mhm,
Leo anger is too, where it's like,
yeah.
"You should be afraid of me," it's
Because
like
it's Leo and Aquarius are on
yes,
the opposite
it's
ends of the
the mirror.
spectrum.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So, I could get it from that perspective where I'm like, "Yeah," because the Leo anger is like, "I'm the shit, and you should be fucking terrified because
yeah.
I'm coming after you, period."
Mhm.
And it's a hot anger, whereas
Yeah.
Aquarius is a cold anger, and Scorpio is also a cold anger. So it's
Mhm.
interesting to feel in me, I feel the hot anger when I hear
Mhm.
this,
Yeah.
but it is actually a cold anger song and it's
Yeah.
spread across society. But for me, whenever I'm angry at society, it's definitely my Leo anger rather than my
Yeah.
Scorpio one, where it's like, I hate this one person so much. It's
Yeah.
like, I hate you, you know?
And going
But yeah,
And going off of, like, "But Daddy, I Love Him," it's another song about rebellion
yes.
and rebelling against the everybody and the people who are surrounding her versus, like,
Mhm,
'cause you called it Mad Woman 2.0, and at least
mhm,
trying to be, because Mad Woman's about a very specific person who hit her
mhm.
versus, um, this song is about the whole system and the population at large who's coming after her. And she's like, and instead of doing her reputation thing of like, oh, they're burning me because I'm a witch. She's like, you know what? Maybe I
I
am
am
a
a
witch. I'm
witch.
gonna
Yeah.
levitate down your street.
Yes. Yes. And I do believe in cusps. So you're wrong, Bubble. I believe in it.
No, I don't believe in cusps.
Yeah, at least is
That's a
the
me
one that
thing.
doesn't.
It has to be. It. I only believe in a cusp if it's literally like 0 degrees or 29 degrees. It has to be that for me. That's the only time I'll
Okay.
accept it because then it's that to me is like, well, we can only measure things so accurately. We don't
Yeah.
actually know where the placement of that star is. I mean, we do by math, but you know what I mean. Like it's just it. You could just be like
Mhm.
slightly this way or slightly this way. The computer got it wrong.
So you can say you have to have a super tight orb. For
Yeah.
me, I view it more so like 3 days, 3 days, like
Yeah.
those three. Like I think there's a little bit of a mixture. So I do
Yeah.
believe in cusp, but it is interesting that you're Capricorn Aqua because this is the times, and this is also what Taylor's experiencing in her own
Yeah.
astrology as
And then
she's
and then the
navigating this
opposite side
shift.
of her, because Taylor and I always have to remind people I was also born in 1989, just like Taylor
Yes.
Swift. And so, but I'm Gemini, and if you look at the astrology chart, Gemini is on it's 180 degrees separated from Sagittarius, which is
Hmm.
what she is. And so when you have two signs like that, like Leo and Aquarius as well,
Hmm.
are opposite ends of the spectrum, you can see into the other person like a mirror. Because
Hmm.
they are the complement almost to you. I don't know
Hmm.
complement, but also the opposite. It's weird. It's weird. It's weird to say that
Yeah.
because the Sag and Gemini are not that different, but so they have things in common that are very strongly in common. But then for the things that Gemini lacks, Sagittarius makes up
Hmm.
for, and vice versa, and they fit together
Hmm.
like a glove or a
Yeah.
puzzle piece.
And both sides have a shadow of the other. So,
Yeah,
like, as a Leo, I have a shadow Aquarius side.
yeah,
And so, for me, this song, it is that shadow Aquarius, but it's also because it's such an airy anger, which is different. Like, Taylor's never written like that before.
yeah,
Because it's such an airy anger, it makes the fire come up in
yeah,
me. So when I hear it, it makes me feel more fiery, but it
yeah.
is very Aquarian. And it's interesting because she's angry at the system. She's
Hmm.
angry at society. She's rebelling against people's expectations. And like Lisa said, she's like, I'm gonna prove you right, which
Yeah,
that's kind of that shadow Leo within the Aquarius anger, because that's
yeah,
kind of a Leo thing to be like, I am big and bad, and you
yeah,
better be scared,
yeah.
because it's kind of like that bravado.
Yeah, which she
And
can embrace because she's a
mhm,
Sagittarius, she has that
yes,
fire
she
innately.
does have it.
But
So I
we
love
all
it.
said, like, her 3 biggest rebellion songs are "Look What You Made Me Do," "Mad
Mhm,
Woman," and "Who's Afraid of Little Old Me,"
mhm,
as far as, like, the anger rebellion, and "Look What You Made Me Do," Capricorn, through and
mhm.
through. Capricorn, like, obviously, there's gonna be a Scorpio edge
Yeah,
to everything she does because she is just has Scorpio rising,
yeah,
but it's definitely for her outer planets, Capricorn. And
mhm.
then Mad Woman fully embraced Scorpio,
Scorpio,
and
full
then Who's
on.
Afraid of Little Me is Aquarius.
Yes, and I think it's interesting because Aqua anger is so different.
Yeah.
And for me, I can't relate to it too much. I have to go to Scorpio to have that cold anger because I can, where I get so angry that it's like I just get calculated. But
Yeah.
it's always from a Scorpio perspective for me. But I think
Versus me.
Yeah. You are not Scorpio like that. Yeah.
Yeah,
You
whereas
it's
I'm
aqua
always calculated.
anger.
There
Yeah.
are times though where I have outbursts. Like I was talking this with our friend Sin, the other day
Mhm.
where I was so angry. If you remember for that incident back in September in my
Mhm.
that you know about, and I called her the next day, and I literally like I yelled in her direction for like over an hour. Like she was also angry, and but I ranted and I literally yelled
Mhm.
explosively into the phone about the thing that we were both angry about for an
Mhm.
hour until she's like, "I'm writing a letter." Then
Mhm.
I was like, I'm writing a letter about it. Because she's a Scorpio moon and Leo with a Gemini rising.
Mhm.
And versus like I don't that just shows you how much you have to piss me off for me to
Yes.
explode because that's
Yes.
one time. That's one I can maybe name like two incidents in the past. Alex has known me two incidents in the past like what, two something years that we've been like
Mhm.
friends. And those are the only two explosive moments that I've had.
Mhm.
And everything else is like make me angry. I'm like, "Well, what happened? Let's talk about it."
Mhm.
Or
It's very she's very slow to
yeah,
anger,
yeah.
but when you get to the ultimate level of aqua anger, it's, like, very powerful and, like, I will ruin
Levitate
you.
down your street.
Yes, I will freak you the fuck out. You'll not know what's coming because it's also about shock too. So
Yeah,
everything with Aquarius is shocking people. And she does that in the song where she levitates down the street and she interrupts it like a
yeah,
record
yeah.
scratch.
Screech.
Yes, that's very Aquarian. I don't even know if she realized how Aquarian this song was, but
I
it's
hope she
good.
does, 'cause she's so
I
into
appreciate it.
astrology. Yeah,
Yes, I appreciate the song. So it took me a minute, but I like it. I like an
yeah.
angry Taylor song though. I love it. I love anger.
I love problematic, angry, evil
Yeah.
Taylor in many
It's
ways.
good.
I miss some of her old lyrics that she retconned in
I
previous albums.
know.
Where she's just like, he goes full on bitch, and I'm like, bring
I love
back the
it.
she did bring back the bitch, and that's why I love this
She
album.
did. I love it.
The next song is "I Can Fix It, No Really I Can," which to me, I think it's kind of like an interlude song. I don't see it as like a full
Mhm.
song. It's kind of like a song that the break between songs. But you have explained to me that many people love this song.
Yeah, so I think what I've noticed a lot of I feel like watery girlies love it.
Yeah,
So
you
I
called
think
it
it's a
very Cancerian.
yes, I think she really leaned into that Cancer moon. It's a very Cancer song. I can fix him. No, I promise I can. And she's kind of making fun of herself for saying, like, you don't need to pray for him or you don't need your God to save him. I can do it. But I think it's tongue in cheek. Some Christians took it literally, which I'm like, I don't think it's literal. I think she's making fun of herself. And she's
Yeah,
saying, I was delusional to think that. Because at the end, she says, never mind, I couldn't.
but she does use a lot of religious and Christian imagery in
Yes.
here, and she also uses like pagan imagery. And she's like all
Mhm.
over the place, but she uses it all as it's just all symbolism. It's literally poetry, people.
Mhm. It is. I think and I do think she has a gripe with Christians a little bit, which I think that's a part of the "Who's Afraid" song,
Yeah,
but she just shit all over everybody. I mean, so one of them was the Christians that were, like, talking about her witchcraft last
yeah,
year and stuff, which, I was talking about it somewhat tongue in cheek. I just
yeah,
think she did have the symbolism there. I don't think that there was much behind it though, because she is witchy, but she's new age witchy. It's different.
yeah,
It's like Barnes and
yeah.
Noble witch. It's like kind of
Yeah, light a
cheesy.
candle,
Yeah.
say a prayer,
Say an
burn some
intention type.
sage,
Yeah.
like
It's kind of cheesy. Like I don't see her as like, I'm gonna get on the knee. Like she's not really like that. But
yeah,
I make fun of her by saying she is because there is that element of like she's superstitious or her number 13, which is kind of a devil's number. It's funny to me. I think it's her Capricorn, where she's so Capricorny that she like has a relationship with the devil, even if she doesn't realize it. Because
yeah,
Capricorn is the closest to the devil in the zodiac.
yeah,
So it's a subconscious thing, but I make fun of her. I make fun of her for everything though. I make fun of her for being a lesbian. I make fun of her for being the devil, and all the stuff. So for me, it's a little bit more tongue in cheek. But I think for a lot of Christians, especially last year, it was very serious for them. And they're
yeah.
like, she's doing witchcraft on stage. She's evil. And I think she was reacting to that too.
And it's like yeah, exactly, especially since her tour is so family friendly. I mean, yeah, there's
Yeah.
some curse words in it, but she's like all covered up. She's not doing provocative dancing. She's
She
she's she's
she
giving
has
little
the
kids a hat.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty wholesome. She has one moment where she's slightly sexual in, like, vigilante shit,
Oh,
but
yeah,
that's,
she,
like
like, spreads her legs a little bit on a chair, like
yeah, and then she goes, like but, I
I
mean, she's
know.
covered up, and it's kinda cheesy. I think it's cheesy, but, yeah, I
Yeah,
mean, I don't think it's that big of a deal, but
no.
it's pretty wholesome too. Like,
Yeah,
there's a
like,
lot of
there
wholesome
the
moments.
the witchcraft stuff they're referring to is women in robes throwing light balls up in a circle. It's like, whenever women get in a circle and start dancing, people are like, "Witchcraft!"
Well, I mean, I do think it represents witchcraft, but it's more
Yeah,
like pagan-y. It's like
yeah,
a pagan moment, not necessarily like fully satanic. I do
yeah,
think that there was some things in the set list, but again, it's not actually real talk. It's not to literally be satanic. It's
no,
to scratch an itch. She's trying to scratch every itch. So she'll
yeah,
have moments that look like heaven, moments that look like hell. Like Lover looks like heaven, you know?
yeah,
So it's like, that's not a Christian album. Like, I don't
no,
think, you know, but she's
no.
just using it as, like you said,
Although
it's
in Lover,
quite
she does say she
poetic.
prays to Jesus.
That's true. She does. She
Yeah,
in her new age, she sometimes prays to Jesus.
yeah, but I'm saying, like, you can still
Yeah.
pray to Jesus if you're a pagan, like, or a
Yeah.
witch or whatever. Like, they embrace
They do
Jesus just
sometimes.
fine.
Yeah.
Just differently. But anyways, so our Bubble Landia says, "My moon is Aries, my rising is Scorpio, my midheaven is Virgo. This is giving me a little info about myself. Can I
Yes.
comparing this to depth
It's good.
analysis?" Yeah. If you're a Scorpio rising, there are so many Taylor songs that you can relate to. Alex, and as
Yes.
another Scorpio rising, just like Taylor, could probably make you a whole
Yes.
playlist of Scorpio rising
Yes.
songs.
Yes. Listen to the Albatross to
Oh
start
my god.
with. You see my name. My
Yeah.
name. That's
So
a
so
Scorpio rising song.
Taylor had 4 bonus tracks on the standard releases of the albums. One was the manuscript, the other one was the Bolter, and was the
Mhm.
albatross, and the other one was the black dog. Alex's image in the thumbnail is of the black dog, but he
Mhm.
most relates to the albatross. I did my best to do my best Bolter impression because I am the Bolter. And those
Yes.
are things that we will discuss in the next video.
Yeah.
But essentially, it's just like the albatross is like, Alex is like, I will destroy you. And I'm like, I'm going to run from you.
Mhm. Well, the
Yeah.
Albatross, we will definitely go very in depth. This is probably my favorite song, but to put it shortly, the Albatross is about a Scorpio rising person, literally. That's what it is. So it's like you appear scary. People warn you, they warn people about you, especially in romantic relationships. People always have something to say about you, typically, or they're gonna destroy you, they're gonna destroy you. But usually they're actually there for you in a time of crisis. So
Yeah.
it's a song about person who's canceled, who is there for somebody else who gets canceled as well. And it shows that
Yeah.
she says, like, you think that the devil that you thought actually looks more like an angel. And that's the
Yeah.
Scorpio rising experience because you appear as a Scorpio, so you appear scary,
Yeah.
honestly. But in terms of
It's
the
about someone
bolter
it's about
is
someone who
Sag
wants to
Gemini. Yeah.
yeah, it definitely has like, I understand the Sag, it's her shadow Gemini in this song, definitely,
Yes.
because Gemini being, like, the fastest, it's ruled by
Yeah.
Mercury, and but it's way quicker than Virgo. Virgo's a different type of quick, it's
Mhm.
analytical, whereas Gemini is intellectual, and it's about seeing issues and
Mhm.
leaving before it
Leaving.
can get too bad. And that is every single relationship I've ever had. I've never been broken up with. I'm always like, "It was nice knowing you. Bye." And they're like, and I get texts like, I love you." And I'm like, "That's nice. Bye." Um,
Yeah, it
it,
is
it's
the shadow Gemini, I agree with
yeah,
that. But yeah, it's very like non-committal or like I leave really quick. Like you said, you
yeah.
leave before there's a problem or before it gets worse.
The tiniest leaks in a rowboat.
Yeah, I love it though because it's such a little happy ditty.
Yeah.
Whereas the albatross is very like ooh and dark and moody,
Mhm.
which I love too. But yeah, we'll get to
Yeah.
that next time. Definitely listen to that song because you might relate to it.
A down trust, yeah. Next one is LML, which everybody wouldn't go into this a song like, is this loss of my life or love of my life? People like clocked it as loss, they, like thinking of what it could be, because why else would she make it ambiguous, right?
Mhm.
And she kept saying, I was the love of your life throughout this song. It's so sad. I've seen
It is
so
so
many people react
sad.
to this song crying.
It's really sad.
Yeah.
It's really hard. It's hard for me to listen to because it's so sad. Like, honestly, like, I will listen to it sometimes, but it's a really good breakup song. Like,
Yeah.
if somebody was just broken up with or they just, got out of a relationship, they
Yeah.
probably would really listen to that.
Yeah. You have to be in the mood for it too, 'cause I think
Mhm.
it's a great song, but it's
Yeah,
that intense of a sad song.
yeah. It's very sad.
Yeah. Ugh, yeah. Should we just, so yeah, anyway, she's like, "You kept saying I was the love of your life," and
Mhm.
at the end, she's like, "You're the loss of my life," and I feel like we just leave it there. People listen to the song at your own,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah,
discretion.
all you need to know is it's a great song, it's very sad, it describes a breakup very well, and it's totally about Joe.
Yeah,
And that's about
definitely,
that's all
definitely.
we really have to say. Because
Yeah.
yeah.
The next one though is one of the best songs of the album. Again, I Can Do It with a Broken Heart. It's the most boppiest of the bops on
I
the album.
love
There's not that
it.
many bops, but it is the bop of the album. Like,
Yes.
I can do it with a broken heart. Like,
Yes.
everything about this song is so great, from the ambiance of, like, the counting her up from the stage, the lyric video of her being on the Eras tour and performing when she's like, "I'm miserable here, but I'm smiling and I'm
Yes.
waving at you," to, like, the lights, camera, bitch smile. Like, that is
Yes.
classic now. Like, I think about that every single day because it's also very Aquarius. It's an
Yes.
Aquarius song.
This song is ultimate peak Aquarius song. It's Aquarius to such an extent that it does have shadow Leo. It
Yeah,
does, because that is an aspect of being an Aquarius. So when she says like lights, camera, bitch, smile, like
yeah,
that's that shadow Leo side of like there's a performance I have to do, or the crowd is wanting me to go out there. I got to
yeah.
do it. That's a very Leo thing
Yeah.
to
Well,
feel.
she's so Aquarius, she
Yes.
compartmentalizes her pain, which is what we do as
Yes.
Aquarians. Like, I'm a Gemini, but I have Aquarius moon.
Yes.
And you have to then go Leo, because if you look at me, like, I'm a very, very Gemini person, but you can see that shadow Leo in the moon of where
Mhm.
I'm like, okay, time to smile and get on video, even though, like,
Yeah.
I'll be texting Alex like, I hate everything and everything's awful. And then I'm like on video.
Yes. Yes, there's the only Leo element of the song is the lights, camera, bitch, smile, and like
Yeah,
the crowd goes wild because you're
yeah,
thinking about the crowd, because
yeah,
Leos are performers. So you feel the pressure to go out on stage. That's a very Leo thing. But everything else about it is pure aqua, because I can assure you, as a Leo, if you're heartbroken, you're not getting up on stage. Like that's
yeah,
not going to happen. Like you're going to be too into your heartbreak and your
yeah,
feelings. And Aquarius is all about detaching
yeah,
from the feeling and being able to compartmentalize and do it damn good. And she's done
yeah.
a great with the Eras tour. And she literally has Eras tour footage
Mhm.
in the
Yes,
lyric video, which
yes,
is just hilarious. It's
yeah.
so trolly.
And I went to her
So
breakup song in our her breakup tour, like, show, one of them
yeah.
where it was, like, only a couple months after she broke up with both, Maddie and Joe Alwyn, which she wasn't with either of them, and she was, like, between that weird phase before she met Travis, and she had a cold at the same time, so she had a cold, and she was heartbroken, and she played Detroit, and I was like, "Girl, you," like, thing is, like, I
She's
could do it with a broken heart, I don't know if I could do it with a cold.
I love it too, because it's like literally like it's the most Enneagram 3 song
Yes,
ever written. Like
yes,
this is her embracing her threeism to the highest levels. And it showed. Like she has an amazing record. I will say though, Taylor, because I'm the toxic one, she messed up on Lover in the beginning because she could not sing that song. Like she was so sad. But by the end
yeah,
of the tour, she was seamless. By the end,
yeah,
like in LA, it was on point. But that
yeah.
first show after they were broken up, she couldn't sing it. And
She
then
was
she
just
changed
dead-eyed.
Invisible.
"Ladies and
Yeah.
gentlemen, will
Yeah.
you please stand?" And then by the time she got to LA, she made things like, "Ladies and
Yeah. Then she could
gentlemen."
totally do it. So
Yeah,
some of them, like there were a little bit of you know, whatever, glitches in the armor.
yeah. Well, what we
But
didn't
I
know is
love
during the LA show, she was dating Travis, and so she was in the throes of new romance, and she probably
yes,
just
that's
channeled all
true.
that she could for the
Yeah.
performance.
And she also made it about the crowd, which makes sense too.
Yeah,
But I think with the I think oh gosh, what was I gonna say? There's so many lines in the song that I relate to, especially from last year,
yeah,
because I was brokenhearted last year and I still lost the weight. So there it's a very 2023 song too, where I feel like she really captured that time incredibly well. because I feel like a lot of people were feeling that way because
Yeah.
2022 was such a trash fire year. A lot of people were heartbroken the next year, and then we all have to work all the time because, we got to work all the time.
Yeah.
So it was just so reminiscent of like when I continued to lose weight and I was losing weight and doing it publicly. And it's like I was finally getting into my Aqua Saturn
Yeah.
and finally embracing my Aquariusness.
Yeah. And the funniest line on this entire song is where she's like, "I'm miserable and nobody knows." And every Swiftie's like, "No, we all knew you were miserable. We could see it when you try to do like call it what you want." It's like, "Call it what you want." Now, call like that song that she wrote about being in love with Joe Alwyn. It's like, "Call it what you want."
Yeah, we can see it.
It's like we're all just
I
like,
could see it when she was doing Tolerate It and she was really
like,
thinking of Joe. She's like,
yeah. Well, because
Tolerate
like
It.
if
She's
you
like,
compare it to the first show of Tolerate, where she's like, because she smacks the thing off the table and she's just like a cat.
yeah.
And then by the time she's like, by the time she was like in Detroit, she was like,
Yeah, she was like, Tolerate It. And she was singing it directly to Joe, like
I
as
know,
if Joe was sitting right there. I was like, whoa, girl, like she wrote this about Joe.
because he just like, because with your head down reading, and then like just like she's like, "I made you this nice dinner," and he's like, "Okay."
Yeah. So
I would die though. That happened to me. If I was in a relationship and I'm like, I put so much effort
yeah,
because you know
it's
me, because I love to
horrible.
cook, and I like
Yeah.
that dream of like, I want a husband, I want to cook for him, and then they're just like, this is nice, I guess. They would just kill me on the
Yeah,
inside.
no. I don't think that's a good thing to do at all. I
No,
think it's a fail on Joe, but I think I just we could see it, Taylor. Like like that's kind of that 3 lying to yourself
yeah,
thing too, where she kind of does it a little bit in the song where she's like, because I'm miserable and no one even knows. And it's like, girl, you're lying to yourself.
yeah. I think if we didn't have to see her like 4 nights a week, maybe she could have hit it. But like we were
Yeah.
analyzing this shit out of her. Like there was nowhere for her to hide.
Yeah. It's so
Yeah.
classic though. This is like definitely to me, it's a career highlight song, like right off the
Yeah.
bat. Like
Oh
it's
yeah.
so iconic of her. And I think she's the only person that could have written
Oh
this,
yeah. For sure.
It's perfect.
The next song is "The Smallest Man Who Ever Lived," and I love this song. I love
This
the
is good.
bridge. The bridge is definitely about Maddie Healy.
Mhm.
It's a holy union, not an unholy union, a holy union between Scorpio and Aquarius coming together, where
Mhm.
Aquarius is like opening with all the verses. And it's like it's analyzing like, was any of it real?
Mhm.
Like trying to be calm about it. But by the time we get to the bridge, she explodes into a Scorpio, but she's still
Mhm.
using a lot of Aquarian lines.
Yes.
So Scorpio, were you sent by someone who wanted me dead? And then going back to
Scorpio.
Aqua, like, were you writing a book?
Yes.
And then, like, in 50 years, it's just all going to be declassified. And then back to Scorpio, you deserve prison.
Yeah. It's so
That's so
interesting
funny.
because it's a very cold anger song.
Yeah.
And those are the 2 cold anger signs. So she married them together.
Yeah.
And I think when she was angry at Maddie, she switched back and forth
Yeah.
between those 2 sets of anger. And it's
Yeah.
very interesting. And I really love it. It's a good song. It's good.
Yeah. But Maddie Healy, don't get me wrong, like, his astrology, I think he's a Leo.
He's an Aries, I
So
think.
he's an Aries? Okay.
Almost Taurus, but I think he's an
Oh,
Aries.
okay. I'm just trying to think. I don't know why I thought he was a Leo. Yeah, you're right. He's an Aries, Taurus, Sun, Taurus, Taurus rising, Taurus moon. So she was definitely like she man, you know what? Aries and Sag, even though they're both fire signs and like a lot of websites will say they go well together, they actually
I
don't go
don't
well
think they
together
don't. I don't think
because
they do.
because they're the egos get way out of hand versus like Leo is like, as long as you let me have my ego in my lane, I'm fine. Sag and Aries can't handle that.
Yeah, I think Leo can do well with either fire
Yeah.
sign. But Leo as a sign is very much wanting a relationship to work. So it's like
Yeah.
a Leo can be with a lot of different signs and they'll make it
Yeah.
work. Like Leos and Cancers work, Leos and Gemini can work.
Yeah.
Like, Leo can work with a
So
lot
that's
of
why I said
different
like it's like
signs.
ego in
Yeah.
their lane. So like as long as
Yeah.
nobody was like the thing that you were proud of, as long as nobody was stepping on that one specific thing,
Mhm.
you'll be fine. Someone could step on you in another area, you're like, okay, whatever. You're kind of like chill and
Mhm.
relax. Like Leo's like it's like the chill ego.
Mhm.
It's still an
Yeah.
ego, but it's chill. Versus the other
Yeah.
fire signs that are very egotistical.
Mhm.
Aries is like I'm being stepped on from all angles.
Mhm.
And Sag is like and Sag is like a wildfire where it's like you don't know which time you're gonna step on something that they're gonna explode.
Mhm. When I
Yeah.
think too, it's just like Leo's ego is very like it's dependent on other people. So there's like a performance aspect. So within a relationship, a Leo is performing as well for their partner. Like it's a part of our ego and our love. And so it's like we can work really well with a fire sign because they have a strong ego. So then we can reflect back or absorb it or whatever. You know, it's like a weird quality of a sign, but they often will say Leo has the biggest ego. And it's like, no, but Leo does have an ego. So if you insult a Leo, they're going to be pissed, you
Yeah.
know? But it's not like anywhere near a Sag or an Aries. It's like to a whole other level with those two. I
Yeah.
think that those two are really high on ego. And Gemini as well is pretty egoic. But
I don't
yeah.
know. Gemini, it just depends on the Gemini. I think
I
Gemini
think
men are very egotistical.
yeah, I think it's Gemini men for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah.
Gemini women are like they're
Very different.
very they're very different. Yeah, it's very much that whole because like a Gemini woman could be dominant or they could be submissive.
Mhm.
And it's more the ego is only comes out it's like if you insult their intelligence.
Mhm. That
Yeah.
makes a lot of sense.
Mhm.
Yeah, I agree completely. But yeah, I think Gemini is one of those signs where male and female is really different, or
Yeah,
like
that's
they're
why it's a
very
twin.
different.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Yeah,
yeah,
it's like date a Gemini girl. Yeah, it's great. But dating a Gemini man?
it's tough. It can be a little
Yeah.
hard.
Yeah. But yeah, so that Swallow's Never Lived, it is scathing. It could have easily been a track 5.
Mhm. Yeah,
I
should have been
love it.
track 5. That would have been way better.
So good. But the next song is one of Alex's least favorites on the entire two-part album, which is The Alchemy.
Oh,
It
no.
it's a
I
cute
forgot it
song.
existed.
We don't even know if it's about Travis or about Healy, like a marriage of two. There's a lot of football references, but at the
Yes.
same time, it's like talking about a relationship that's been going on for a while, and it's like, but you haven't been with this guy for that long.
Yeah,
Like,
it's conflicting. It's
yeah.
confusing.
Um,
So, I agree with that, where it's probably I think she's trolling. I
yeah.
think
People
it's a
are
troll
obsessed with
song.
this song. They're obsessed with it. They keep
Yeah.
making so many cuts of Travis on it, and I'm like, we know one for sure. So High School on the anthology is totally about Travis. We'll get to
Yes.
that next week. But the
Yes.
this one is like it's cute. It's that's it. That's all I have to say about it. It's cute. And then yeah,
Yeah. I just think the football lines are really cringy,
yeah,
and I think she's trolling people, so I think it is a Maddie song, but she's making it seem like it's a Travis song because she wants to fuck with her fan base a bit, and this is one of
she's mad
those
at them.
I think she is mad at them, and
She
she's
is
like, "I'm
so mad
gonna."
at her fan base that she never released Speak Now or 1989 signed vinyls for Taylor's version. Speaking of which, one second. This is my vinyl. And this is my signed Taylor insert. Her hand touched this page briefly. And
I
we
w
like to think that she thought of me as she did it.
Yeah. She's like,
She's like,
"Detroit."
Detroit, night 1, row 3, right?
I would love that so much.
She would be
I
just
really do
psychotic
think
enough to do it.
I know that we laugh about it, but there is weirdly this part of me that's like, I feel like Taylor would remember because they made eye contact, and I'm like,
We
I
did,
think Taylor would
briefly.
remember Lisa because of the Archer see right through you, opposite Zodiac, 1989 connection. Like, I do think there is something, unless if Lisa loses like 100 pounds, because then she won't. I don't
But
think she'd recognize
my
you.
face will be maybe a little bit thinner, but, like, she might remember the face.
She
Especially my hair was,
might.
like I had this hairstyle, and I had the red, like, lover sunglasses up on my head like this, so I just gotta show up
Yeah, to show
what the hell
up
is
like that.
like this.
Could you imagine if she looked at you and she's like, "Did you lose a lot of weight? Oh my gosh." She'd be like,
And I'd be like, that's fat phobic, Taylor.
No, if the thought just crossed her mind, like, what if she did remember? That'd be so crazy.
That
If
is
she
so funny.
remembered.
Well, the only reason why, guys, I know this sounds delusional, but we're just no, we're literally telling you how psychotic Taylor Swift is in an
Yeah.
amazing way, a great way. She has like the most extreme memory where
Yeah.
fans have met her briefly and then met her years later. She's like, yeah, you did that thing with that, and
Mhm.
how is your brother? And they're like,
Yes.
I met you once for 10 minutes, like 5 years
Yes.
ago. So it's that's why we're
She
talking
has
about
that
that.
kind of
Yeah.
memory. Yeah. So
To be
I
fair, I
think
have that type of memory, so
yeah, yeah. So I think she would remember you. I just think
yeah.
she might not remember you if you lose a lot of
Yeah.
weight, then she might not.
Yeah. I had the kind of memory where people were like my physical therapist, and it's like, I don't remember how we met. And I met you on May 21st of
Yeah.
2011. And I'm not even joking. I'm like, I met
Yeah.
you on May 21st of 2011. And
Yeah.
I can tell you the birthday gift I brought my friend for that party. I can
Yeah.
tell you what we talked about. Like all like I have, but I've always had that. Like it got worse with the hypohaze and like all
Mhm.
the hormonal cognitive issues. But long term memory, I'm still really really
Yeah.
really like crazy.
Yeah. So I'm just saying I
Yeah,
have faith. I just don't if Lisa loses 100 pounds by the time she sees her again. So then which
yeah.
hopefully that's the goal, I guess, but then she might not. But then I still
But then she
think
might actually like me better. I'm just
she she's a little bit fat phobic.
yeah,
But
in a good
I
way.
mean,
Hey, I get it. No one wants to
I
be
like
fat.
to believe there's a part of me, probably the Scorpio side of me, where I'm like, I believe delusionally that Taylor is subscribed to this channel because I talk about her all the time. And she literally she's such a Psy vamp that she would be like, oh my fucking God, this guy is so obsessed with me.
You know
And
what?
I was low key a hater last year.
Yeah.
So she probably would like hate watch a little bit.
Yeah. But
Just
here's the
that's how
thing,
I
Taylor.
feel.
You can side vamp off of me. It's okay. I have endless energy to give you. I gave you all my energy already. Alex and I cannot, we will have serious conversations about politics, world events, like friends, and anything. And there is not one conversation we have where a Taylor Swift lyric is not
Yeah.
worked in and made
Yes.
the front of the conversation.
Yes.
It's that is our entire
Yes.
relationship is Taylor Swift lyrical metaphors. But it's great
Yeah.
because it's like we relate to each other on a psychotic level
Yeah.
through this lens of Taylor Swift.
Yes. And I'm telling you, like, I know Taylor, there's gotta be some world where because she zooms in on like her top fans
Yeah,
and she knows that I am
atheist love.
absolutely obsessed with her. And
Yeah,
even if I don't want to be, I still am. And I know
yeah,
that is like the ultimate Psyvamp win for her.
yeah,
That even if I didn't want to be, like, I tried to leave being a Swiftie in 2022 and I couldn't.
yeah.
That's power.
You kept saying to I'm no longer a Swiftie. And then like literally 2 days later, or you sometimes even the same day in the afternoon, you come back and you're like, I'm a Swiftie again. It
No,
was
and then
the funniest thing. I just stopped replying to the first one because I was like, he's gonna change his mind in like 24
and
hours.
then it's so bad because I'll go through these moments where I'm like, I've listened to Taylor Swift's music so much that I get so oversaturated
Yeah.
that I'm literally like, I can't listen to her. Oh my God. And I have to
Yeah.
stop. And I think I went 1 week and then I was like super obsessed again.
You
It's like
were
I just need like a
having
break
withdrawal.
and then I just go right back. And I was
Yeah.
having withdrawal.
It
It's like,
was because like we made this plan for you to do that because originally Alex and I traditionally for the last few albums, like including the re-records,
yeah.
we would listen to them together and react together. And for this album, Alex was just so like, I just know it's gonna be terrible and I'm
Yeah, I
gonna
was
hate it.
so
And I was like,
scared.
maybe we should listen together just this one time. Let's listen separately and then talk
Yeah.
afterwards. And then we both ended up liking it. But I do think it was great to listen on its own because it was that kind of intense
Yeah. It was
lyrically deep
intense.
album that it was better to listen on our own anyway. So it worked out
Yeah,
that
I
way.
think so. There's just so much in it, but I still wrote all my reactions
Yeah, I told you that. I was like, tell
to
me everything
Lisa.
you're thinking
Yeah,
at the time.
so I did.
I'll read it when I wake up. Yeah, and then the last song of the standard edition is Clarabow, which is it's cute. It basically talks about, Clarabow was like the it girl and she was torn
Mhm,
apart by the media and it was a big scandal and stuff. And how the industry basically looks for the next it girl. And they're saying,
mhm,
you look like Clarabow. And they're saying this to like someone like Stevie Nicks. And then to Taylor, they're saying, you look like Stevie Nicks. And it's like, but you have
mhm.
something that she doesn't have. And that's what they're basically they're saying, you look at this amazing person, but guess what? You're even better. And then in the
Mhm.
last verse of the song, it's like, you look like Taylor Swift, but now you have edge that she did not have. And they're saying that's
Mhm.
the next person, the next it girl. And so it's
Mhm.
a very interesting
Olivia
song.
Rodrigo. Just
Well, she has our rock edge that you don't have, Taylor. Where's the rock album, Taylor? We're waiting. If even it's just a little bit of alt rock, we're cool with that. You know, you
right.
have to go full Avril. It's fine.
So funny.
Yeah,
I
but
love
yeah,
how I still feel like she hates Olivia. Sorry, I just have to throw that out there. I have to say that every time because, like I said, in my psychotic mind, I do think she looks at this channel because I always talk about her. I literally use her lyrics as stream titles. I know that she would love that shit. I know she
yeah.
would. She has like colonized my brain. She totally.
we were so colonized by Taylor Swift that we were like delusional. She's watching us. She's the one person watching. Just joking. No, we know it's Bubblelandia,
No,
but
yeah.
Bubblelandia
No,
totally be Taylor Swift. Just kidding.
I don't think she watches it live. I think she
No,
watches it later. Like she'll
I know. Well,
probably
she's at a
like,
banquet right now. She's probably like
yeah,
hanging out with
she wouldn't
Travis.
watch it live. She would watch it like she's like, what is that one guy that's obsessed with me? What is he saying today? Or what did he
He's
say
just a
last
weird
week?
fat friend, Lisa.
Yeah.
The one who
Oh my
owns all
God.
the merchandise.
If she ever, like, if I ever meet her and she's like, graphically Alex, I would die. I just want you to
Yeah.
know that I
She's
would
like, where's
probably drop
Lisa?
dead. Huh?
She'd be like, where's Lisa? Detroit
Yeah, that
108.
too. I'd
Alex,
be like,
why did you bring her with you?
I'd be like, I'm deceased on stage.
Oh
Like,
my God.
I'm deceased. I'd probably pass out.
Yes.
We do have to meet her. We have to try. If she does
Yeah.
another tour, I want to try.
Oh yeah, for sure.
We'll
Even if
break
it's for a
onto the
different album,
stage.
I'm just hoping she'd be singing songs from this one on that tour, you know?
Yeah.
But
I hope that she does a tour for Torture Lesbian. I hope she
yeah,
does, but we'll
yeah,
see. But
yeah.
we'll have to break on the stage. We'll have to like dive into the stage or like get there where she dives in and then we'll
Yeah.
be down there.
The
And then
catcher.
security will take us out. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. No. I'll be watching from the sidelines like, you go do that, Alex. I'm gonna be over here. I want Taylor to like me. But definitely for the next tour, we're trying to get tickets together for whenever that is. And
Yes.
no matter what album, even if we hate the next album, we have to go to the tour
Yeah.
for the chance to see the songs.
Also, too, I realized too, like throughout my journey over this Midnight's era that I hated, honestly.
Yeah.
And I think it's okay. It's like, I realized like it was not about her, it was about the era. And I
Yeah.
think that that's fair. And it was a difficult place to be as an intense Swiftie in an era that I didn't like.
Yeah.
And it's over now, and it's amazing that it's over. But I think what I realized is I am very committed.
Yeah.
I am like a deep Swiftie, and I will probably be a Swiftie until the day she dies,
Yeah.
basically. Like,
And that's
I'll
why
probably
we
follow her
joined the
forever.
Poets Department.
Yes, we
Yeah, we
did.
are
She got
official
me all
members.
in.
Alex is now the Albatross. I am the Bolter. We are members
Yes.
for life. I have all the stuff. I mean, I have more stuff than we wear next week.
Yes, and I think too, it's just honestly like I was ambivalent a lot. And I think in my hormonal journey, I've reached a point where I'm not as ambivalent in
Yeah.
general. And so I can just like fully embrace the fact that I love her.
Yeah.
And I don't care if people shade me. And I do get a lot of shade actually. Like
Yeah.
tides are definitely turning. Like the cancellation is coming because people
Oh
are
yeah.
hating.
Yeah.
But I will loudly and proudly still love her, even if she's the most hated person ever. I don't care.
Same. I love her. Unless we find out she's like torturing cats or something.
Well,
But
it's
I really
something
don't
crazy.
think
Yeah,
that's
I don't
yeah.
think so either. I think it
She's
came
not.
out already.
Yeah. I think she tries to be a good person.
Yeah.
Really does. And I love her, and I'm gonna love her till the day I die. When she's gonna be 80 years old, putting out her like album TS 27, and I'll be like, "Oh, it's me too. I was Taylor Swift," and Alex and I will be like screaming again.
TS 30. I'll be like,
it's
ooh, this
bopping in the
one.
nursing home.
I am so just like, I'm so glad that she's probably going to keep writing, that she's going to keep going. It's like, it's the best person to be a super fan of because she's so prolific. She never stops.
She's
And
gonna feed you no matter what.
yeah. And I'm just so happy. I'm so happy with this album. I'm so happy with her. And I'm just like, I'm happy with myself to not be ambivalent anymore because I'm never going to say I'm not going to be a Swiftie anymore. I'm not going to say that anymore.
Yeah.
Because there's been a lot of years where I was ambivalent, and I think it was that toxic fakeness of her. I don't
Yeah.
like fake Taylor. I like real,
Yeah.
unadulterated Taylor, and I feel
Yeah.
like the old Taylor is back. And I think
Yes.
a
Oh
lot
my
of us
god, she rises up from the dead. She does it all the
yes.
time. She was said she was tired of being a phoenix rising from the ashes. I'm just throwing out quotes now for Taylor Swift. But the old Taylor
Is
has
back.
literally like risen from the dead. Like we
She's
said, like
back,
yeah, he's back.
and
So,
I love
anyways,
her.
with that, I think that was great.
Mhm.
Thank you for chatting with
Yes.
me, Alex, for the last 2
Yes, of
hours.
course. We'll be back next week for sure.
Do
We'll get
part
into the
2.
anthology. I'm gonna wear a shirt that's a little bit more tortured, lesbian
Yeah.
appropriate, and it's from high
Yeah.
school.
And
So
I
I will
have
be repping Travis.
my Tortured Poets cardigan. It says it on here too. It's the official cardigan for this era.
Yes.
And but I have more Tortured Poets stuff to wear next week, so I'm excited.
Yes.
But anyways, thank you guys so much.
Yes.
Listen to the album.
The stream I repped Joe. Next time I'll rep Travis, even though I hate him, but it's okay. I'll do it
Yeah.
for Tay. But
For
thank
this
you guys
stream,
so
I
much
I
for
repped
watching.
But Daddy I Love Him.
Yes.
That with the feminine energy. But next week I'm coming as Masked Taylor. Be prepared.
Ooh, I love that.
Mhm.
That'll be fun.
Okay.
Yes. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll be back next week. So
Thanks,
thank you.
bye.
Bye.